spring football and it's 27 degrees and it's windy. We never practiced in the indoor. Like we always practiced outside because we don't have any dome games this year. We save the Big Ten championship game, so we might as well practice outside. So we've prepared for all those things. But the big thing is, again, as I said, there's a standard. We got to execute and perform at that level when it comes, because you know what, cold weather, guys in Purdue are used to cold weather too. I'm assuming, right? I mean, I think Indiana's cold too. So we're all going to have to play through it. It's just going to come down to who executes and plays well.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
You're cooking with gas.
Something's missing in the open.
Yeah, I should have got some Kirk Cousins in there.
Yeah, we got no Kirk Cousins. We got no baseball highlights.
What baseball highlights?
What time did you go to bed last night?
When it became 10-2, I said a couple of F words and said, you pretty much F this, it's time for bed.
Oh, you missed primetime Kirk, which was
also a couple
much better than primetime
Brock. F this, F everything. Yeah, we're good.
So if you're a Viking fan, you liked that last night. But if you were an Astro fan, not so much. But I think if you're going to lose a game 7, because we've all been there, right? We've all lost a game 7.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just stop.
Well, you have to own up to it. I mean, that's the reality.
It is the reality.
That you would rather get blown out than have a walk-off.
Oh, yeah.
Like you'll never, like I look at like a Yankee fan. A Yankee fan will never get over 2001 when they got beat by the Diamondbacks. Yeah. But 2004, that game 7, that was a blowout.
Yeah, that's actually what I thought of last night.
I'm okay. So I think the result you don't want, but if it's going to end that way and you're going to be on the wrong end, you don't want to be playing in Arlington and Garcia hits a walk-off against you and takes 3 hours to get around the bases.
Yeah.
Because he is soaking it all in, which, man, that guy is a likable villain.
That's what I said. You need a villain.
Ribbies.
I like him.
You know what? Hey, so that's, who knows what's going to happen moving forward. Texas got a nice core. Baltimore will be good in the American League. I don't think even with the new manager, the Astros are going to go away anytime soon. That could turn into a great rivalry, like a rivalry of hate. Like the fans don't like certain players. Like Garcia's not going anywhere in the offseason. It could actually turn into, already what it is, but even more so because of the postseason.
In a state we like to hate.
I got Abreu should always pitch against Garcia.
You said embrace fun. Let's embrace hate too.
I don't know how the game 7 in 2016, the World Series, and
it was a great game.
It wasn't a walk-off.
It was a great game.
It wasn't a walk-off, but it kind of felt like it because of Cleveland tying it up with a Rajai Davis home run. And then it looks like, and Kipnis is like
nobody cares,
feet away from winning it all. Then the delay comes in, and then the Cubs go right back to work. So it did, in a way, to me, kind of feel like a walk-off because it was like all hope was lost, and then the Rajai Davis home run. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, here they go. Is it the Cubs' curse? Cleveland's going to finally do this. And then that happened. So it wasn't like a walk-off, but it kind of felt like one. But game 5, the following year in the ALDS. See, it's game 5 because it couldn't go game 7 in the ALDS, where Cleveland was up 2-0. Then they go to the Bronx and they lose 2 there. They come back to Cleveland, and that game was over by the 6th. I remember watching that game with Schaaf, and like by the 6th inning, we were already talking about like next year's team.
No, you should embrace the Cubs winning the World Series. That's the last time Nebraska football won 3 in a row.
2016.
Nice.
2016. A lot of things happened. In 2016. I got married in 2016.
I love what Garcia did. I mean, it might hurt more for the Astro fans because he was the person that was behind it, and he had a monster series. I mean, just a monster series. Yeah. But all the boos.
He'd be a great Astro.
And absorbing all of them. Like the home run that he hit that was caught on the ump cam was fantastic. And
the Apple one.
I love that he soaked it all in, all the hate that was coming his way last night. That was great. Plus, he's got a great nickname, El Bombi.
Yeah.
El Bombi.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. You know the reasoning behind his nickname.
I do not know.
Well, because when he was a kid, his buddies said that his head looked like a light bulb. So they called him El Bombi.
Yeah. I said that last night during the game. I was like, okay.
Yeah, they talked about that for a while last night in the game. I was like, that's awesome. But does it hurt more because it's him?
No, because
He's like a, he's
I
like
just
a
you said
number one villain.
likable villain. We need more of that. And Astros fans that are upset at him, come on, you'd take him in a heartbeat and he'd fit right in. So,
I don't
we
think
need some more of that.
I don't think you seem to be taking this okay.
Well, it's because it was a blowout.
Okay,
You
but no,
know?
like the whole series, you're like, I don't know. Are you
I-
as invested in the Astros as you used to be? Or did you get one and you get kind of
Yeah,
you get soft?
honestly, throughout the
I think you're
season,
soft. I think you're a soft Astros fan.
I just never felt it. They had issues all year. It was almost miraculous that they won the division. And I said when it got to 2-0, just don't get swept. They didn't. They had game 5 was pretty great. It was a great baseball game and it was a good story for Altuve. But if you can't win a home game, just like I said in 19, if you can't win one damn home game, you don't deserve to win the series. And so that's how it goes. So
Yeah,
moving on. And plus, I don't hate the Rangers because I have a lot of friends where I grew up, but also throughout my life that are Rangers fans that I felt crushed for in 2011. Given what happened, I'm like, all right, go get you one.
I think you've got
Is
soft.
that commonplace with Astros?
You're a soft
Astros fans, I should. Is that commonplace where you can get along with the other team in the state?
I think it's a little different down there.
Okay.
And I haven't lived in Texas in over 20 years, but cities don't like each other. And I'd see that with the Spurs Mavericks over the years. And hopefully that'll be back too. So I get it. I don't think they can coexist.
Are you okay? You said
Wasn't
soft.
it a
Are you
player
soft
last
or are you
night?
spoiled?
He's soft.
Are you
he's
spoiled?
He's a soft Astros fan.
Positive Tuesday.
Turn the page, Tuesday.
I did see a quote from one of the Rangers. I can't remember who it was. Said there's a reason why we have Texas on our jersey. Wow, that's like going all in on that rivalry.
Okay,
but that's crazy that all the games were won by a road team. It's the third time in the last 5 times that the Astros have been eliminated that at some point during the series they had a 3-game winning streak. That's all like not easy to do. What also is not easy to do is Texas goes 8-0 on the road.
Yeah.
They had that marathon at the end of the regular season where they were on the road for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then they've been
brought them together.
Yeah, primarily on the road for the postseason. And they go 8-0. Scherzer is Scherzer last night.
He gave him what he could. He's pretty good.
Yeah, but
Javier was not.
How many innings did he pitch? Yeah. Javier got 1 out.
Yeah. Scherzer did what he had to, but give it to their bullpen. We had Dave Raymond on last week, and he said the bullpen favors the Astros, but thought the Rangers were fine. It helps when you give them a big lead, but then they brought in Montgomery, and it's how it goes.
Bruce Bochy's 3-0 in Game 7s for a reason, and first sign of trouble. He was like,
yeah, that bullpen was really, really good, and Bruce Bochy managed that bullpen well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Leclerc, probably. I was Game 6. I was like, after using him of what happened in Game 5. And they used him a lot.
Yeah.
But they managed that game really, really well. I just love the October emotion. I mean, I'm going to get to this later. I'm content with baseball. It might be becoming a niche sport, the way it's covered this time of year, especially with the grand showcase that is upcoming. But I love October emotion. And the emotion in both games yesterday, because it's going to be one hell of a tension convention in Philadelphia today.
Who would have thought?
They've never played in a Game 7. The Phillies never played in Game 7. That's wild. But last night, what the Diamondbacks did, you don't use the word like upset, like in a particular game in a series.
Mm.
But you could say that yesterday was an upset because the Diamondbacks clubbed the Phillies. I mean,
they jumped all over them.
Oh, and and the Diamondbacks have been hit or miss. They haven't been the typical Diamondbacks where they create chaos and they're stealing bases and Corbin Carroll is, balling out. But yesterday they played really, really well. They got a great start from a guy that essentially skipped the minors, went to KBO to pitch, and then Kelly ends up in the majors and he's starting in the postseason. He'd be one of the starters in the World Series. I thought what they did to mute the crowd as well, that was pretty impressive by the Diamondbacks. But they also caught the Phillies, which this is the boom or bust kind of offense they are, is you can get on a streak and you can crush the ball and hit all kinds of home runs and beat people. But that one day or that 2 days or that series where all of a sudden you're not hitting home runs and you can't do anything else, you're in trouble. And their top 3 in the lineup yesterday, they wore the collar. And ironically, Alec Boehm, who we talked about last week, I wonder if he still bats cleanup today. Yeah. He's had a rough stretch here at the plate.
And I was kind of in and out of this game, watching a little bit of it.
The Phillies.
We had some. Yeah, it's very true. We had a maybe for a later segment. I got to learn the fine art of trying to fix a garage door. That was great. We're almost trapped in. But Merrill Kelly, and this is when I kind of see guys that you have stuff. We were talking about Scherzer a week ago, where he was kind of like trying to create pitches as he's trying to find it, and he's trying to get a hold of his slider. Like Merrill Kelly's curveball, and especially in moments where Philly was trying to get back in the game. My gosh, that thing. There's just something about the depth of certain off-speed breaking pitches that you see that I always, when I'm talking about college baseball, and you look at the difference between college pitchers and major league pitchers, and to a lot of college pitchers credit now, I mean, you're seeing electric stuff these days. But there's difference between, a slider and what they'll call an exploding slider, and a curveball or one that just completely drops off the shelf. And where he was locating that thing, like right in the heart of the zone, then that thing is just dropping right off onto the bottom. Like it was kind of fun to see that. And so just watching a team like Philadelphia, who has a propensity to get a lot of swing and misses too. Like that pitch, just watching that yesterday, man, that thing was a thing of beauty. That was one of those, when you see a pitcher who has something going on with the breaking pitch, whether we're talking slurve, whether we're talking curve or slider, whatever it is, when you see a guy that's on his game, and I talked about this last week about out of every 5 starts, one of those starts you're going to really have your stuff working, that's your complementary stuff working. Man, that was filthy. That curveball was filthy yesterday.
The other part of last night, of both games, and I would think this never have ever come close to competing at that type of level. But how cool is it if you are, let's say Chapman, for example, who, man, Chase McCormick getting drilled by a 104-mile-an-hour fastball, is you're pitching on the road to go to the World Series, and while you're on the mound, all those really, really expensive seats behind home plate are empty.
Yeah.
The Astro fans bailed. Now, the Philly fans got to own up, because as the Diamondbacks were muting the crowd yesterday and turned that game into a snooze fest, is Philly fans were leaving in droves. So much for being a great home crowd and diehard baseball. Man, you're going to have to redeem yourself today. But all I can think about is you're on the mound in the bottom of the 9th inning to wrap up a trip to the World Series for the Rangers, and you are staring at your catcher, and behind him are a bunch of empty bougie seats.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome is that? If you are the Rangers.
It's like a regular season game at that point.
Wow, you are
you're
like,
Leclerc, you're seeing
I don't know
that.
if you're
That's
a soft
validation
Astros
right
fan
there.
or an angry Astros fan.
A little bitter. I mean, bitter because you can't win a damn home game. That's the main thing. I have no issue with the Rangers. I mean, they kicked their ass, and they did 4 times. But yeah, it's game 7. You don't show up. Your starting pitcher doesn't even make it out of the first inning. At that point, you're like, oh, they're in trouble. And Dusty had a quote said, "We didn't lose, we got beat." That's putting it mildly.
And
it's hard to be mad when the other team just goes out and kicks your ass.
I don't know. I think I would be on edge if that was my team game 7. I'd be angry. I mean, you were up 3-2 in the series.
It's almost like I expected it. I don't know. It was,
maybe you're spoiled.
Yeah, but see,
he also said that too.
Maybe you're spoiled. You have had a nice little run of success.
Is the expectation, like, I'll use the Bears, for example. Like, they have that cruel self-fulfillment when they fail, especially in like games that would actually matter. The Astros, I don't know. You don't really have that.
Here was
as of late. You haven't had that.
Here was my
cruel
mindset.
Self-fulfillment of them. You screwing the pooch.
Last night, got my little 5-minute outburst off. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch one of my favorite shows, which is called The Back of My Eyelids. And it was great as always. And then I was like, you know what? Got Wemby tomorrow night. I got the big nude on Saturday. All is well. I saw the weather forecast. So that's not getting me down.
You turn the page. On the page Tuesday.
Yes. Okay. Already headed to West Palm Beach for spring training. Also last night, so this is crazy. The NFL is fantastic. I mean, the NFL really is the only thing that gets ratings. If we get the Diamondbacks and the Rangers, us baseball people will watch, but nobody else will.
Yeah.
I mean, are people in Houston going to watch the World Series?
No.
Would people in Philadelphia watch the World Series?
No.
Probably not. The only thing that really gets ratings nowadays is football, college or the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL probably will have a good rating last night because you have 2 brands playing, the Vikings and the 49ers. But that game made no sense last night. Minnesota has no running game.
Yeah.
They have no Justin Jefferson. They have Kirk Cousins, who on Monday Night Football isn't very good. And also, next to Dak Prescott, is the most micromanaged guy in the NFL. Every single pass with Kirk Cousins is scrutinized. And what did he do last night? Hat tip to
He
him.
balled out.
And I'm not a Cousins hater. He was damn near perfect last
Yes, he
night.
was.
I mean, he was 35 of 45. He was almost 400 yards. 45 dropbacks. He never got pressured. Never got he got pressured, but he never got sacked.
It was Tommy Kramer back there.
He threw the most Kirk Cousins touchdown of all time when Addison stole the ball away and ran into the end zone at the end of the first half. I mean, for a guy that is so micromanaged, that game last night made no sense whatsoever. But yet the Vikings are a win in Green Bay away from being 500. The NFL is fantastic.
Yep.
The NFL always delivers. It makes no sense most of the time. And last night is one of those games. And I just watched it and like, okay, Cousins has been great here. He's been damn near perfect. But they've only scored 22 points, including a missed field goal. So how good is he?
Well, and really with the NFC North, too, everything kind of came back a little bit. You know, the Lions losing and
humbling.
Green Bay is, whatever. And I mentioned the Bears. So, yeah, I mean,
they won.
That was.
Did you like that?
Yeah. But what Minnesota did, and
Did you like that?
he didn't. I wish he would have done that. He now he's more into the chains. He likes to do in the post game chains,
And the
and sometimes the shirts off on flights home. But that was last year.
His planes are warm.
And his actually, I was thinking of the other touchdown pass that he had to Addison, not the one that he ripped away from Ward, which that was kind of funny when Ward was able to do that first. But as Troy Aikman explained, that was more on Addison than it was on Kirk Cousins throwing that one. But the other one that he threw, just kind of that little, just the little arrow route, perfect touch right over the defender too. Like, you could tell Kirk Cousins was on one last night. And then in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't the ones that probably even would show up in the highlights, just to try to keep drives alive. Like, he was under pressure, but he was still throwing off of his back foot, throwing under duress and still completing the football. Like, that was a Kirk Cousins. I know everything is always amplified when it comes to primetime Kirk Cousins.
No, I think Kirk Cousins is amplified, period. He now might surpass, Brock Purdy is micromanaged every single pass, and we'll talk about his passes, especially in the fourth quarter.
He looked like Mr. Irrelevant.
But I think Cousins has surpassed Dak Prescott as being the most polarizing micromanaged quarterback in the NFL.
I think it's fair. Yeah. And maybe it doesn't get as much just because of Dallas and the amount of attention. And not only are you micromanaged by your head coach, but also by your owner and then by that entire fan base. But I think with Kirk Cousins, I
feel like we can all get behind Kirk.
Well, and
I tell you what, the quarterback show on Netflix changed a lot.
I agree.
About
exactly what I was going to say. I think
why.
You got a little bit more insight of Kirk Cousins, how he goes about his day to day. He's just, he's a likable guy. But in that game where we've seen Kirk Cousins so many times in the primetime stage, in that fourth quarter, he would have made that throw maybe off the back foot and it would have went into the defender's arms. Like, he would have made that critical mistake that either gets run back for a touchdown and San Francisco takes the lead, or at least sets up San Francisco to where they're inside the 20, something like that. He didn't make that mistake. Like, he seemed like a guy who has been playing as long as he has in the league, and he's kind of figured some things out. And to do that with a pretty beat up wide receiving core, at least without Justin Jefferson, and to still have trust in Jordan Addison too, after what happened with that interception earlier, where again, to me, it didn't look like a great pass at a 50-50 ball, but I'll lean on the expert and Troy Aikman, who said felt like Jordan Addison just didn't run the right route there. So that was more on the wide receiver. There was a lot of things about Kirk Cousins, especially when San Francisco was kind of in desperation mode. And then being able to take advantage when Nick Bosa wouldn't be on the field. Like, there's a lot of things about what I think Kirk Cousins did in that game that was pretty impressive.
Hey, I'm here. I'm pro Kirk Cousins today after what he did last night. Remember,
I'm kind of
they only
pro
carried
Kirk
the ball
Cousins after
19
quarterback.
times. They threw the ball 45 times. I mean, here's a crazy thing about Cousins. And he probably won't be in Minnesota next year. I think they're ready to move off of him. I just still don't think they're going to trade him, and they shouldn't trade him. But he leads the NFL in touchdown passes. He's got 16. You know what makes that even more impressive? The Vikings have 0 rushing touchdowns. Zero rushing touchdowns. And what he did last night, I thought was, and they're not in the same spot where they were when they won in Buffalo. Like last year, that win against Buffalo was like his statement game. People talk about the miracle in Minneapolis. You know, he wasn't the quarterback. I mean, people like, oh man, Kirk Cousins, what's his significant moment as a Viking? I think last year at Buffalo. I think last night, man, he was on. And again, he has surpassed, in my opinion, Dak of being the most polarizing quarterback. And maybe it's because he gets paid a lot of money and he has no Super Bowl.
Right.
And they went out in the playoffs again early last year. Or maybe you don't like how he plays quarterback. You were referring to one of his routes. He's not a guy that's going to rip it. Okay. How many times do you ever see Kirk Cousins just rip the football? Everything
Very
seems to
seldom.
have a bow on it when he throws the ball. But you know what? He knows where to throw it. He's smart. Now, does sometimes he hold on to it too long? Yeah. End of the Kansas City game. But last night, man, they micromanaged the heck out of Kirk Cousins. And I thought when he has a game like that, he deserves all the flowers in the world. And I was impressed. And yet they still almost lost, which is, that's a Viking thing. That's a Viking. That ain't a Kirk Cousins thing. That's a Viking thing.
It is. And I know at some point we can get it back into Brock Purdy, but it was just kind of a role reversal because of Brock Purdy, who started 10-0, and everybody knows now has lost back-to-back games. But that was the difference, in my opinion, from a guy who's played in the league and a guy who is still figuring out the league, that maybe had a little bit of false sense of confidence because of how good he's had it and the people that he has around him, including his head coach. That to me was exactly the reality of the NFL, where you can have that type of success, yet you're going to have to earn it at some point in moments like this, especially on a bigger stage like that, especially with a team that, San Francisco, even though they're a little bit beat up, I mean, Christian McCaffrey still had a really good game like he normally does, other than the fumble.
I don't know. Can the Niners win a game like that, though, Nick? That was what I would call a grimy game. Are the 49ers
no.
built to win a grimy game?
I don't think so. I think and this is where I go back
weird because you think they would be.
This is where I go back to the quarterback. This is where I think Brock Purdy still showed that he's got some growth that needs to take place there, because under duress, especially when you had not one but two opportunities there in your last two possessions to make plays, and you didn't, and you made critical mistakes there too. I think that again still shows that kind of the learning curve that's going on with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, his two interceptions in the fourth quarter were bad.
They were really bad.
They were really, really bad. They were bad throws.
So that's why when I watched the game, and I know everybody, the headline should be about Kirk Cousins, the type of game he had. I think it shouldn't be all that shocking, though, that you had a quarterback like Brock Purdy and a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, and one really outplayed the other, given the experience, the amount of games like this that they've been in. Minnesota, look, I've watched them a handful of times this year too. It's still, I still would not put them as a good football team, and especially when you're down Justin Jefferson.
Oh, no, I don't think good is 3-4.
No,
in that division.
But especially when you're without your top playmaker. But you are reminded that Kirk Cousins has played a lot of football, and Kirk Cousins you can still win with Kirk Cousins, not necessarily because of him. Last night was probably as close to winning because of Kirk Cousins that you're probably going to see. And that's for Vikings fans. Hey, at the end of the day, you kind of know what your team is.
How about all the Iowa State gear? What all the Iowa State gear that was in the stands last night?
I did turn it on there for a little bit to see that. That was they support their guy, so maybe he was nervous seeing all the Cyclones.
This wasn't very good. He didn't have
Bush Light.
He didn't have Deebo Samuel.
Right.
McCaffrey's hurt, but try to gut it out.
McCaffrey's a baller.
God,
I mean, they still have, and you remember that Trent Williams.
Yeah.
So in a grimy game, when I say grimy game that brings you down into the muck, that's kind of disjointed.
The Cleveland game was like that.
They got a place kicking problem. Jake Moody is Robbie Gould is still sitting in the Bay Area. That'd be a guy I'd go back to.
Mike Kofor still got
grimy,
some.
With grimy games with San Francisco, when they don't have their full allotment, because when they are healthy, top to bottom, best roster in the NFL.
Yeah,
there is absolutely no doubt in my mind they're the best roster in the NFL. But when they are down a couple of guys and the game turns grimy, can they win? Purdy made mistakes. I'm okay with Purdy. Purdy is perfect for the Niners. But in the fourth quarter, he wasn't very good last night. But here's another thing to keep in mind. When the games get grimy and they're close, where the Niners have to come back, you know that Shanahan is 0-36 when he trails by 8 or more going into the fourth quarter.
Wow. It's impressive. Almost impressive.
One of the best one of the better coaches in the NFL right now. But 0-36 when they're down 8 or more in the fourth quarter.
Well, then that tells me that he's a guy, and we know him as obviously coming from very solid offensive background too, and family tree, that he can get them out to good leads where they just kind of hold on, let their defense take over, and they're fine. But having to play with that sense of urgency, and again, like you saw yesterday. I think a good example, even without Deebo Samuel, like you just saw a kind of a panic team. You saw a team that wasn't really, they were out of sorts. Like, and bring up Christian McCaffrey, like for a guy that, he made that one mistake and obviously he is gutting it out. Just to have that weapon, I think most teams, if you're missing a Deebo Samuel, it's going to really show up. It's really going to show up. But gosh dang, this is another part of that game last night that I appreciate Christian McCaffrey on that swing pass where, he just finds one guy to miss and gone. Like the dude is just, he's rare. He's very rare. But yeah, like I think of Shanahan, the way that his offense operates and the way that they're able to really scheme, like a lot of these guys, like a Brock Purdy. That's why I think can be successful, will continue to be successful even after last night, is you're a product of that system and you're going to be managed as such. But when it comes to, all right, we need you to make some plays, we need to go off script a little bit here, we got to come back, sense of urgency. Yeah, that's where I think the San Francisco team, it's not, maybe that number, which is kind of very glaring. I didn't realize it was that. It maybe shouldn't be overly shocking given how sort of systematic that offense is and what they kind of look to do there in the first half as opposed to having to chase points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I still think the Niners are fine. I still think the Niners and the Eagles and then the Chiefs and the Ravens are 4 teams that
are going to be
against elite teams. They're going to be fine.
I had the Niners and the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
All right, welcome in everybody. Niners and the Bengals play this weekend in San Francisco.
Ooh, yeah. Super Bowl 23.
I thought maybe that would be a preview, but no, sadly not.
You have Boomer Esiason against Montana.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sam Weish against Bill Walsh.
Will Icky Woods make an appearance?
Icky! I want to see the Icky shuffle.
All right, welcome in everybody. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The whole gang is here. Happy NBA Day. The NBA kicks off tonight. The Inside the NBA crew is back and all is good in the world.
Denver.
2 games tonight. The Lakers are at Denver, and then also Phoenix is at Golden State. So happy NBA Day to everybody that celebrates out there. Sam McEwen of the World Herald. I'm not sure if Sam's an NBA guy. Sam all of a sudden became Mr. Volleyball guy. Holy cow, he's giving out takes and breaking down volleyball. Good on Sammy Mack. He'll join us coming up at 7:30. Brian Christopherson stops by at 9. As you heard yesterday, you know by now, the injury situation. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
So I said yesterday on the show, man, do we have a single-digit jinx? We need one more guy probably to go down to solidify that, and no one will ever wear a single-digit at Nebraska again. It'll be like the Yankees.
No.
Okay, all the single-digit numbers are retired, so nobody can wear a single-digit number. We also have a media day in Indianapolis jinx. All 3 guys that went to Indianapolis have all suffered an injury that has knocked them out of a game, or in Ethan Piper's case, the rest of the season.
Yep.
Now, Piper's injury sounds nasty. Like, not just, hey, do you think Ethan will be back for spring? Listening to what actually happened, man, that sounds like that could be a long time. I mean, I'm no doctor, and I haven't stayed at a Holiday Inn in a while because I'm not a huge fan of Holiday Inns.
They're slacking these days.
Yeah.
Just listening to the description of what he tore, I'm like, whoa, that's not, hey, we'll see you in April. Yeah. That might be, hey, I hope we get cleared in June. And that's terrible for Ethan. But all 3 guys, Jeff Sims, Luke Reimer, Ethan Piper, that went to Indianapolis have been injured. Matt Rhule got to be careful. Like when Matt
Rhule and Connor need to be careful.
Yeah. But Matt Rhule in particular, like Matt Rhule is out walking today. Man, you gotta look down to make sure you're hitting that curb the right way.
Yeah.
If you go down with a sprained ankle and then you're out with a high ankle sprain, and next thing you know, you're Dion on the sidelines. You got a scooter.
I know Tony White speaks today. Just want to make sure that he's not walking with any type of noticeable limp or any arm or anything is in a sling. Just making sure that he's good to go too.
He's a bad man.
That was devastating. I mean, I don't know what else you could really say about it. The one thing that I appreciate about Matt Rhule, and he's asked about it constantly every time a new injury crops up, is have you ever experienced anything like this? And he flat out has said no, and he's being honest. But other than that, he doesn't make excuses about it. And I appreciate that.
You wouldn't expect him.
No.
Yeah, but he'd be getting crushed if he makes excuses.
I know sometimes that you can say, that's no excuse, but then as you're answering other questions, you could sort of revert back to injury situations, especially, questions about lack of production in certain areas, and you can always point back to injuries.
But you know why he doesn't? Because he's pretty confident in their development.
I think so too.
Now, one side of the ball has probably developed a little bit more than others. But man, if you just next guy up, you feel good about your development. I mean, that's a subtle sign. And actually, I think what was announced yesterday with 2 offensive linemen, I think it turned out to be a positive.
I think that's the question.
That crossed my mind.
I think that's the big question right now, because we've wanted to see Teddy Prohaska, and then we kind of saw some Teddy Prohaska, and we were like, okay, maybe there's something going on there. Well, Teddy's got to play, regardless of the situation, whether he's working through some things, either physically still or mentally. Teddy's got to play, and Teddy's a guy that, again, we all were excited to see him finally get out there. Justin Evans-Jenkins, watching him fill in, and they like him, and even going all the way back, that was a guy that they mentioned a lot during the spring too, even taking some center reps when Ben Scott was missing some time in the spring. So you've had a little bit of Justin Evans-Jenkins, and then Lutovsky we've seen a little bit too. And that's why, okay, if you're looking at Bryce Benhart, who I would say for the most part this season has been the most consistent performer, if we can say there is such thing, on the offensive line, at least started out the season pretty decent. So you still got Benhart in there. Ben Scott, thankfully, when he went out for a little bit, came back in, he should be okay. And then, so now you're kind of plugging and playing. And then, for guys now, you're getting a little closer to that 4-game window where you can play some of the freshmen, like a Gatula, like a Sam Sledge. So, there is that opportunity that's going to exist for those guys, where now all of a sudden they might be rotational pieces, as opposed to guys that are going to be playing on, on the field goal kick team and PAT kick team and stuff. So I think for me personally, I'm excited to see Justin Evans-Jenkins now kind of having a solidified role here. And then, all right, okay, Teddy, let's see what Teddy looks like now. Let's see what Teddy looks like at left tackle. It was something that we all wanted at one point, and then maybe we paused a little bit. Now he's got to play. And you take a little bit of that thinking of, okay, you're constantly trying to, beat out Corcoran. You're trying to get yourself on the field constantly. Let's see now what Prohaska can do.
All right, we'll dive into a lot of that. Again, Sam McHugh, Brian Christopherson throughout the morning. There's also Big East Media Day in New York City, where they'll announce all the preseason picks, individual awards.
Get some Rick Pitino.
Yes. Wonder how many, I know Channel 6 is in New York City. Any other media locally covering Creighton? It'll be in New York City.
Pretty darn good.
I was actually surprised Channel 6 is there. Good on them. I don't know. I haven't checked in with Andy at Channel 7, but usually outside of maybe the World Herald beat writer,
Give Adam
from
Kruger
Omaha
some
don't go
credit.
there.
Adam sometimes will get out there for Creighton stuff. I don't know if they have
for Big East Media Days.
Yeah, well, just for Creighton things in general. So, especially given what the season could be, so it wouldn't shock me if Adam Kruger found his way out there.
I know Channel 6 is out there, so good on them. I'm just curious because this is a huge year for Creighton. Maybe the World Herald will ask Sam coming up in an hour. They'll unveil who the World Herald beat writer for Creighton is.
Blue smoke coming from downtown.
Hey, it's not a bad beat. Not a bad beat at all.
Especially this year.
All right, that's the lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard on a Tuesday. Lots to discuss, and the sun still doesn't come up for another hour and 3 minutes.
Warm, though. Feels summery outside.
Yeah, it's like muggy.
7:45 is the sunrise. I just saw on TV. Wow.
You get used to it, Nick.
It's
like you're doing after hours.
Yeah, I got more used to the summer ones of like getting here, driving here, and it was like actually light out. That was interesting.
All right, off and running. Mornings. It's on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
It's an NFL doubleheader on Sports USA. And first, we're in the Music City as Ritter, Robinson, and the young Atlanta Falcons fly into Nashville to battle King Henry and the Tennessee Titans. Then, we're off to the City by the Bay as Burrow, Chase, and the Cincinnati Bengals leave the jungle to face Purdy, Kittle, and the San Francisco 49ers. It's the Falcons at the Titans, then the Niners hosting the Bengals this Sunday on Sports USA.
If it's the NFL, it's on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer. 'Tis the season at Glass House Market within Knoyer Garden Center. We'd like to invite you to come shop our stunning holiday market, where you'll find a perfect gift for that special someone or the Christmas decor you've been wanting. Join our family for this year's open house, November 4th and 5th, to help us celebrate the holiday season. Glass House Market, located within Knoyer Garden Center on 66th Street between Cornhusker and Highway 370 in Papillion. Open daily 10 to 6.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
From sports medicine to spine, bone, and joint problems, Nebraska Medicine is your home for the region's most comprehensive orthopedic care. Our specialists have the unmatched expertise to diagnose and treat common and complex problems, with surgery being a last resort. With multiple locations, our leading care is miles ahead, yet close to home. For orthopedic advances, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/ortho.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Breast cancer is among the most common types of cancers in the United States and accounts for 1 of 3 new female cancers every year. Get familiar with your own breast with self-exams, and if something doesn't feel right, get it checked out. Find out more at cancer.org.
Hey, Tapper, for the FanDuel Sportsbook, jump into NBA action this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. You know about that deal. Plus, there's more. All customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass, courtesy of FanDuel, when they place a $5 bet on the NBA. That way, you can watch all the action as you bet on everything from point spreads to player props. Best of all, you'll get your winnings paid out instantly on the lovely FanDuel Sportsbook app. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass only with FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/Happer and tip off the NBA season the right way. FanDuel, official partner of the NBA. 21 and over, present in Iowa. New customer offer. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. All customer offer. $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
The 49ers rush for Kirk, straight drop, loops to the end zone, caught, touchdown! It's a high five for Jordan Addison, his 5th touchdown this season, and the Vikings have taken a 6-0 lead. Cousins fires over the middle, and it is caught by Addison. 20-10 touchdown! That time, Jordan Addison stole it from Jarvarius Ward, and it's a 60-yard touchdown.
That's Paul Allen, the voice of the Vikings, which is quite the ride to listen to PA. And it's quite the ride to listen to his talk show on the Fan in Minneapolis. I mean, he is one of a kind. He also was one of the first broadcasters that started, because then you got Mitch Holtis that does this, where they have the camera in the booth.
Now they all have it, all their field deals.
Yes. And so you see them on every play.
I've had to do it once. I was like, don't pick your nose. Don't pick your nose.
Is that a problem when you're doing a game?
No, but it's just
natural.
Like it's
there's a
sometimes
three. Good. There goes the knuckle.
But it could be an itch. And then
it could be anything.
It gets misportrayed as a pick.
Don't touch your face.
It gets portrayed as a pick. I had asked Jeff Colhane about that because I know Florida State was big on that too.
Well, he started at North Dakota State. He had much to his chagrin.
I think I saw the basketball. Was he doing the football as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. I only saw the basketball.
Camera. The guy at South Dakota, he has a camera that follows him everywhere when he's doing games.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the thing.
I don't need that. We have enough trouble of muting mics during breaks and not saying stuff.
So what happens when Learfield drops a camera in front of you this year? Ian?
Turn it off.
Let me put my read in front.
We don't have enough power here on the press row.
Put a thumb over that thing.
Here is Random Mike on the 42 degree the Source hotline. Good morning.
Hey, does Virgil work with Teddy Prohaska? Has he worked with him?
In the past, yes.
Okay, so they have a relationship.
Yes, they do.
Is he a big Prohaska? I think he is from what I've heard. But you know better.
Yes, he is. If you stop by today at Pisons and you say, "Hey, Verz, I want to talk to you about two linemen, Teddy Prohaska and Justin Evans Jenkins," there's a good chance, Mike, he might pay for your slice.
Actually, last time I was there, he did give me some free stuff.
Hey,
I always like Virgil. I'm one of those guys that. In fact, I told him when there was some question about who Frost would bring in as the O-line coach, I said, "Hey, you're the guy." And the recruiting thing, you haven't done it, but guess what? You'll figure it out. And hey, how would history be different? Here's random for you. If Joe Gans, you were talking about, hey, we need a real quarterback. If Joe Gans had been our quarterback all these years since he left, let's say theoretically it could happen. Just have Joe Gans as he was his junior and senior year. How would history be different?
This will be a 17th year.
Right.
Yeah.
But just the same Joe Gans. I'm just saying we've had athletes. We haven't had a guy, I think, like Joe Gans, who I think was one of our best ever.
I liked him.
Oh, I thought you meant like Joe Gans as a quarterback coach. Okay. So actually as a quarterback.
Yeah, but just as our quarterback, because we haven't had, like Gary, like you said many times, we need a quarterback.
They need a quarterback that plays quarterback and not an athlete that plays quarterback.
Yeah. And that's the thing about our team this year. Do we have a quarterback? 1, 2, or 3 are they quarterbacks? But we've had so many injuries, and we're best when we run the quarterback a lot. Wouldn't you agree? If ever a team should play more than one quarterback, it's this Nebraska team.
Yeah, but until Nebraska loses or there's an injury, I just don't see that happening. But I agree about the quarterback run game. I mean, I just want Harburg to learn how to slide or either take a hit, because he does take a beating, but he gets right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see, when you said you really hope we would beat Northwestern badly so we could see Sims in there, I totally agree. Did you think they would put Sims in at some point?
No. This isn't what Rhule does unless there's an injury, Mike. I don't think he has an interest in playing two quarterbacks. I mean, everybody says, what is the leash with Heinrich Harburg? I think the leash is in the closet in the Rhule home. I don't think it's out in the football office. Until they lose and they have to assess the situation.
Yeah.
There's too many things that you'd be like, you know what? Does he hurt the team? Well, Right now the team's won 4 of 5. He's 4-1 as a starting quarterback. I don't think Rhule wants to mess with it. And especially with the situation now where you have no idea from day to day who's showing up to play on the offensive side of the ball. Why disrupt the quarterback room? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but it's interesting that big play, and wasn't that encouraging, that freshman catching that pass? And boy, it looked like he had good hands.
Yeah, so that's the play. So the play action on the option where he hits Coleman. There's Nebraska's offense, as you know, Mike. There are so many things that have to go right on one play for them to have success. But first and foremost, it starts with giving Harburg time to sit in the pocket, and then it's on Harburg to be a quarterback and step up in the pocket. And that play was one of the nicest, cleanest offensive plays they've run all season long. But so many things had to go right on that play. Coleman had to run the right route. They had to sell the fake, all of those things just to get it into the end zone.
Yeah, but it was an old Nebraska play.
Yeah, they've run other old Nebraska that have gone for losses. So I'm not going to read too much into that. It's you know what? Running more play action, I would love to see him do. But they need Harburg needs a little bit of time for all of it to develop. He needs to get that old quick blinker stuff going.
Yeah, and that's tough to ask for a guy that's so inexperienced.
Yeah, I mean the clock in your head is, that comes with maturity. Unfortunately, Nebraska's in a situation where they'd like to speed that maturity up.
Yeah, and the guy that has maturity is Sims.
Yeah, but I just, Mike, I don't see unless Nebraska stubs their toe or Harburg is just, you can't afford him to have him out there. I don't think Jeff Sims is coming back to start a game at Nebraska.
Yeah, I'd just love to see him play. And you know what he said? He said Purdy would have been the guy if he hadn't been hurt.
Yeah, it's been a weird year in that room. You had Thompson, you had Smothers, you have the guys that are here. You possibly could have had Jake Peets as their quarterback coach. It's just been a weird year how they've managed it. But this year is not as important as what the room looks like in 24.
Hey, one last thing.
Uh-huh.
We're Cub fans. We're Husker fans. I repeat, keep Tony White, keep Bellinger. That's all I got to say. Take it.
Speak for yourself there. Cubs fans. Yes. That's a good point about not disrupting the quarterback room, though. With the injury situation going on, I think it's easy for people to say, oh, boy, you're one hard hit away from Heinrich Harburg also going out. Well, isn't that more reason to make sure you're keeping guys behind you as fresh as possible as well? And you go into a game plan, you're trying to figure out, okay, using the strengths of some new bodies on the offensive line. And then all of a sudden you throw in, hey, and by the way, even though Jeff Sims hasn't started or hasn't played in well over a month, we're also going to insert him somehow, some way into the game as well. That's too many moving pieces. I totally agree. And I think it's something that's probably not discussed because I could see a lot of people saying, like, with the injury situation, again, from the outside looking in, boy, the last thing you could afford is having your quarterback go down too. So how do we try to help him? How do we try to preserve him as much as we can? Do we give him some series off? Well, then you're talking about, again, throwing another element at an offense that's just trying to do the most simple things right now to stay afloat. And that's where I think yesterday's news, if there was ever any thought of having some type of package for Jeff Sims, which even last week Matt Rhule said he wouldn't be against it, but it wasn't in the plans. I think yesterday's news with this offense, I think puts that way further down the priority list as far as even considering something like that. And I'd also agree that, let's say Nebraska loses this Saturday to Purdue. You're going to evaluate that loss, and then you're going to look at, okay, how much of that loss did the quarterback impact before you even think about trying to make that change.
I mean, Harburg has trouble at times completing a simple pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still your quarterback. He's 4-1. I think that's what Rhule is leaning on. He's 4-1. And until he gives you reason that, man, you're going to cost us a season, I just think he's your quarterback. And, I mean, he's now working with guys that some of those guys he actually has worked with because they were second or third teamers. I just think they would disrupt the chemistry. I don't know. It's the offense is what it is. And he's at 6.3 yards per attempt, which if that holds true will be the lowest in the Big Ten era for Nebraska.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to change because sometimes the simple pass is really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That's where what Satterfield wants to do and what Harburg can do are on the complete opposite of the spectrum. So they've got to come to a middle of what is the lowest risk play we can run that just doesn't expose us.
Right.
Where, everybody puts 8 in the box, which is still crazy that a lot of teams are putting 8 in the box and creeping up on Nebraska. Nebraska's still able to somewhat run the football, whether it be the quarterback run game or that quarterback handoff game. I don't know. The whole thing, the whole offense is just upside down. It's totally disjointed. And you just look at the guys on the other side of the ball and go, please, 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 please. But I will tell you this. I think Nebraska is going to be okay on the offensive line. And they have a chance when they get Noelle back that they may have their best offensive line combo in a couple of weeks. People might disagree with me and go, whoa, did you not hear Corcoran and Piper? Just my feeling that this could turn out to be a positive. And if Noelle comes back and he's healthy and it's only 2 weeks and he's back and you slot him into one of those guard spots, not a bad offensive line to finish the year. Well, we'll get into that. I wonder what Sam is thinking because that was, I mean, you're like, good morning, guys. Hey, I want to let you know that we've lost our starting left tackle. Our starting guard is down, and the other guard is going to be out for a little bit. I'll take questions now.
Yeah.
The Nebraska football 2023, Matt Rhule.
He started with congratulating the volleyball team. And then, I did appreciate, though, he even said, I'll give you guys some time to tweet that out. I know you got to do that.
Hey, guys, remember when we were all despondent because Maverick Noonan was out for the year? That seemed like ages ago.
Gosh.
Sam McEwen coming up in the next hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay from 96 to 79th along L Street. And on Dodge, it looks like there's going to be just a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 72nd. And on Center, be prepared for some delays from 175th to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Nanfito Heating and Cooling.
Don't get caught in the cold. Call Nanfito Heating and Cooling, your Rude Pro partner today. Now is the time to have Nanfito Heating and Cooling get your furnace in top shape. Nanfito services all brands of furnaces. Call today, 402-515-5050.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Put your coffee department in good hands with Host Coffee Service, providing direct delivery and loaned coffee equipment with service programs. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. And visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Don't want to leave the house? Too cold? Don't want to pack up the kids? Hosting a football watch party? Order Cops Pizza Delivery. In celebration of their 4-year anniversary, Cops is offering free delivery through October 31st on delivery orders of $50 when placed online. Cops has locations at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click copspizza.com to see the menu, place your delivery order, and enter the code FREE DELIVERY. All one word in lowercase.
Husker fans, this year marks the 100th season of Memorial Stadium. You can preserve memories from this iconic stadium with a limited edition, fully licensed football for $119. The ball also features championship and stadium history, as well as a full panel panoramic color photo of Memorial Stadium. Only 5,000 footballs will be produced. To order, call 1-800-345-2868. That's 1-800-345-2868. Or visit NICOsports.com. That's NIKCOsports.com.
It's another home game for Nebraska football. That means Unauthorized Big Bird Breakfast is on the road. Join me, Gary Sharp, along with Nick Handley from Sharp and Handley in the morning this Friday. Each home game Friday, we're there. And this year, our new home is Hy-Vee. We'll be on the road at various Hy-Vees each home game Friday, breaking down all the big stories and each Husker game.
This week, join us at the Shadow Lake 73rd and Papillion location. Hy-Vee featuring a breakfast buffet just for our show. One trip for $12 or all you can eat for $15. Every home game with Sharp and Handley at Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Deserve Nebraska's the new #1 in college volleyball after their thrilling 5-set win over previously top-ranked Wisconsin Saturday night at Devaney. Huskers received 63 of a possible 64. How did somebody not vote for them? Anyway, 64 first-place votes to take
Somebody
over.
say that
Who'd they vote for?
Texas Tech.
What?
Wait, Texas Tech didn't vote for Nebraska?
Nah.
Well, Wisconsin fell to 4th in RPI.
Yeah. I think they'll be okay.
Be better, Nebraska. Help out your brethren.
Yeah. Just figured that they would just slide right there.
Tech
Two, be okay.
still bitter.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so they take over the top spot in the poll first time in exactly 1 year. Oh, happy anniversary to always celebrate. In the poll, Wisconsin drops to second. Stanford, Louisville, and Texas round out the top 5. Huskers are 19-0 in the season, their best start since beginning in 2008 with a 20-0 record. They have been ranked #1 in the coaches poll nation, leading 103 times. More volleyball stuff. Creighton's Nora Sis. Yeah, she's pretty good. She's been named Big East Offensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time this season, 5th time in her career. Creighton had a pair of road sweeps last weekend. Her team is ranked for the 40th consecutive week in the top 25 poll as they dropped 2 spots, though, to 17. They're also 18 in the RPI. The move down came even though they had 2 road sweeps over Connecticut and Providence over the weekend. NBA season begins tonight, and Giannis Antetokounmpo has agreed on a 3-year, $186 million contract extension. The deal, which includes a player option for the 27-28 season, commits Giannis, a 2-time MVP, to the franchise for the duration of the guard of Damian Lillard's contract. It ends the possibility of him entering free agency next year. Ring night in Denver tonight. Champion Nuggets host the Lakers. Suns Warriors follows. Wemby tomorrow night. Yeah, let's go. Another Game 7 in baseball tonight in the NLCS. Diamondbacks and Phillies play after Arizona shocks everyone winning Game 6 last night. And Connor Stallions, the suspended Michigan staffer at the center of the NCAA sign-stealing probe, purchased tickets in his own name for more than 30 games over the past 3 years at 11 different Big Ten schools. Sources say that 11 different schools. So he's helping out their local economy, I guess.
I hope he, when he came to Lincoln, he used ticketsforless.com.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Promo code this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
do it right.
I saw 2 outlets mentioned. So yeah, I was like, come on.
This
Hopefully
story
spreading the wealth.
gets weirder by the moment. So I think you can be a bunker dumb criminal. Like, I think I would actually make a good criminal because I'm smart and I would not leave a paper trail. But this is unprecedented. I mean, I don't know how to feel because I don't know, like, is the NCAA or the Big Ten going to do anything? I think they will try. I think this will be drug out. I don't think this will impact the 2023 Michigan season.
Yeah.
They don't appear to be distracted by anything, but it's so wild. And yesterday's amount of information that came out, I honestly, I don't know how to feel because I don't know where this is going to go because I don't think it's done. And if it does have a conclusion that leads to Michigan getting in trouble, Harbaugh, pulling a Pete Carroll, if there is a paper trail, man, this could eliminate a lot of people involved in Michigan football and the athletic department. Because I don't know that there's no way this kid, I'm going to call him a kid, all of a sudden went rogue.
Yeah.
He had to have some instruction.
Right.
But there's a lot that so this is how I'm trying to, in my head, figure this all out. My head was hurting yesterday. I had a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm trying to figure out the PJ Fleck and Kirk Ferentz and the director of official, the whole stuff that went on with the invalid fair catch signal in Iowa City the other day. But thinking about this, like if you were, for example, let's say you were at a Nebraska game and this dude who was buying tickets that were up high on the 50-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
One,
good seats.
My arm would hurt if I held up my phone the entire game.
Right.
And also, don't you think that people around this person would get very, very curious?
Yes.
And maybe take a picture of the kid or video the kid or tell him to sit down or something like that. Like this story is wild. And we haven't had many like in-season controversies of this level. We had the Wake Forest WikiLeaks. Sandusky was in the middle of the season.
Yep.
But we've never had something like this. It's just they are bonker dumb criminals that I mean I want a reality show of this. I don't know where this is going to go, but I personally don't think it will impact the 23 Michigan season. Beyond, definitely a possibility, but I don't think this season they will say you guys can't go to Indianapolis or Harbaugh, you can't wear khakis on the sidelines, or you guys are going to have to play a tougher schedule moving forward.
That's it.
None of that stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I want more today. I want something new. I want something crazy about this kid he was only staying at Motel 6s.
He was communicating with Bo Schembechler.
He was Venmoing Brady Hoke.
Yeah. And so
he lost.
I think the root of this, what's also kind of humorous, colorful to this whole story is the Stallions guy who actually on his LinkedIn profile, he's listed as having a knack for identifying and exploiting critical vulnerabilities and centers of gravity in the opponent's scattering process.
Can I steal that for my LinkedIn?
So he's basically saying, this is what I do. All right. So to your point about, it's not like a guy on the staff is just going to decide to go rogue and say, hey, don't worry. Hey, Harbaugh, don't worry. I got you. Don't you worry about it. Don't even ask what, this is a recon.
I mean, when you guys, at least when you like, okay,
we're going recon here.
So Lego Maniac is like not against, he's like, absolutely did not go rogue. I'm not saying went rogue, but think about it. If you were trying to move up in the world to get, hey, maybe a full-time job.
And those are your ambitions.
Hey, coach, look what I can do for you. Now, you got a head coach who I don't think Harbaugh cares.
I don't either.
Okay, he doesn't care.
I just want to win.
But would you guys at least give me, I'm not saying this, but I'm giving you an example here. I'm giving you both sides. Is that a young staffer who's trying to make an impact in a very competitive world and a very probably competitive football program says, look what I can do for you guys. Look what I went and did.
Yes.
On my own dime with my own credit card.
Yes.
And I would say, you are a bonker dumb criminal.
Yes. And that's the point. For the first time you present this to the coaching staff, I would assume it would make it all the way up to the top to Jim Harbaugh. And you'd present that and say, hey, look what I got. And I got a pretty damn good idea of what they're doing. And we can figure out when we play Michigan State later, I got them. And at that point is where that thing should be squashed.
Now, like, what should be the punishment?
I don't know because
I think they will hope that internally Michigan does something first, then the Big Ten, and then the NCAA goes, But I don't know, like, what is the punishment? Like, what Michigan, do they suspend Harbaugh again, or do they fight this? Do they say, oh God, Jim, can we have a mutual agreement, not public? We'll get through the season, and then you're out of here.
Then you can go back to Chicago.
But I think
You're catching on.
I think everybody is going to wait and hope that Michigan does something on their own, because I don't know what the punishment would be.
Well, and how many people? This was the thing that I kind of gauged over the weekend too, especially with
It's not even the worst
upstanding Michigan
scandal in
alum
Michigan over the weekend.
Desmond Howard, which I actually agreed with him on this one. But how many people did know, because I heard other people talking about this too, about Article 11, subsection H of any attempt to record either, through audio or video means, and what that actually consisted of, that you couldn't do what's basically considered advanced scouting, because that exists in the pro game. Hell, Matt Rhule even made a point about this, and I remember going to the Millard South Gretna game, and they have this rolling big screen TV, and I know other teams have that too, where you're using technology on the field, on the sideline.
Yeah, the technology skips over college. Like what?
Yeah, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, you go to. I think Creighton Prep has like a 65-inch TV on the sideline.
Yeah, so does Millard South.
I mean, yeah. So he was right on that.
Yeah, and so I think I understand where Matt Rhule sort of used the question, just because obviously Nebraska was a Michigan opponent, used the question of that into sort of champion the cause of, here's how we avoid this. We just need to get technology into the game. We need to have comm systems in the helmet. That's the best way to do it. But also saying, hey, if there are rules in place, you got to follow them. If rules are broken, then that's bad. But I don't think any coach in America, even teams that played Michigan, would say, oh yeah, you need some suspensions, like head coach suspensions. You need, some heads need to roll for this as well.
Now you're saying no,
as far as,
because I think Big Ten teams, this is like the old SEC, where they used to say when Urban Meyer was at Florida, daily people would turn in Florida about something.
Things like that.
I think now the Big Ten schools, especially on that side of the ledger, are like, screw it. Michigan, you're going to mess with integrity. We're just going to turn you in. We're just going to keep telling everything about Michigan, whether it's true or not.
I don't know because how many of those other schools, this kind of goes back to, before
yesterday, a lot of those schools were giving over evidence and talking to the media.
I know, but I wonder how many of those schools do their own advanced scouting as well. Like that's the part where if you have this really harsh penalty.
Oh, they probably all do, Nick, but to this extent where you go to the stadium and you get a couple of seats and you have a kid that holds his, I mean, this is just,
it is bonkers.
This is absolutely wild.
Well, to the extent of it, and having multiple people actually in different sections of like the mid part of the field. I think the one area that is going to probably be the most damning, and this is the one that this is where Michigan probably needs to self-impose something, is this guy's making $55,000. He's not paying for all this on his own. This is not on his dime. So who's funding this?
That's why he should turn on Michigan. He should turn on Michigan, man. He should just give it up.
Like, all right, hey, he's the whistleblower now.
Yeah, turn on Michigan. That would be better. I'd be all for that. Then all heck breaks loose.
Yep.
But right now, it's just this gets weird, and I just don't have. There's if this is all true, they need to pay a penalty. But I just have no faith that there will be an executioner of all of this.
I don't think so either.
Here is Bob. Bob, welcome to the show.
Morning, guys. Just a couple real quick things. First, based on what's been going on around Michigan and all the allegations, does it now make a little more sense as to why they struggled so bad with TCU last year in the playoffs? Harbaugh didn't have time to scout or film TCU because he really didn't know who he was playing at that time. And then secondly, the argument is, well, every team scouts. This is scouting. This is a couple steps further than scouting. This is flat out cheating, and it goes against the spirit of the game. You are taking away the spirit of these kids that play hard every day. And I believe something has to be done. Now, I'm not saying the death penalty, but Jim Harbaugh and that staff needs to be looked at, and changes need to be made from the Big Ten. Michigan can do all they want, but the damage is done. In the spirit of the game, I mean, there's other areas where people can, and maybe some do, and just haven't been caught. tongue in cheek. They mess around in the locker room of the opposing teams, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But this is flat out cheating, and that goes against what all sporting events are about. If you cheat, you need to go. Simple as that. And that's just my statement.
Yep.
But I do believe they didn't have time to scout TCU like they did these other teams. And that's why they struggled like they did against TCU. I truly believe that. Not to mention Max Duggan has, he's a stud.
Yeah, and that was a good TCU team. Bob, thanks for the phone call. I'll go a step further, just if we want to play this game. I mean, I think TCU was a good.
Yeah.
Michigan was a good matchup for TCU, just the way they play. Michigan did struggle during the COVID year, right?
Mm-hmm. You had nobody allowed in the stands.
Well, those cardboard cutouts weren't getting the job done.
The same.
What if somebody you bought a cardboard cutout with someone actually holding a phone?
Remember that for the next pandemic.
Yeah, I just don't have. They need to pay a penalty if stuff comes out and they have stepped over what the rule. What's a very kind of a vague rule,
non-conference.
But I just don't have.
LSU.
I just do not have faith that they're going to get zapped. And he'll pull Pete Carroll and he'll be out. But this is, to Bob's point a little bit. Bob said Big Ten. It has to start with Michigan. Whatever Michigan decides to do, and then if you're not happy, what does the Big Ten do? I mean, the Big Ten and the NCAA are already out against Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do they throw the hammer down? And if it's not Michigan that does something and the Big Ten throws a hammer down, does Michigan fight this and they string it out? I mean, I don't think this impacts the 23 season.
I don't either. But
they're the best team in college football.
Yeah.
Their defense has scored more touchdowns than they've actually given up. I mean, they're the best team in college football. They appear to have no distractions. They're pretty focused.
Mm-hmm.
They have a head coach who don't care about anything. I think this happens after the season. Well, I'd be very, very surprised if it happened in season.
The other part of this is, as we've seen the NCAA try to do this before, when it comes to different violators, is sort of the repeat offender. So, are you going to be able to pile this on of what is still an active investigation, NCAA wise, when it came to some of the COVID level 2 violations, when it came to recruiting, outside of the dead period, and some of the things that Harbaugh was accused of during the COVID period, where it didn't. Michigan, remember, they self-imposed that, thinking, okay, they're going to sort of cut off what would be the inevitable punishment the NCAA is going to give. Well, then you have something else to this. Is this something now that the NCAA can use on top of what they're already trying to reach some type of closure with what was going on and why he originally served that self-imposed suspension with some of those COVID violations? So if you start to pile that on and you're basically seeing a blatant disrespect for rules that are in place, then now we're probably talking about something bigger. And then again, this kind of goes to
Big Ten coaches, you all wild, man. You all wild.
I think this goes back to Jim Harbaugh now kind of being a flight risk, though, too. Because every
flight risk, like going to Mexico?
Yeah, going to a little place called the NFL.
Well, at that point, you don't care.
Yeah. Like that's
Canada's close.
That's where every time
He's
something
a flight risk.
Well,
Like,
that's what I meant.
wait,
Not a flight risk from college football to the NFL.
Do you think
is
he
what I
needs to
meant.
turn in his passport?
He needs to turn in his Michigan credentials because he might be taking some meetings with NFL teams. No, because
at that point you don't care. I mean, Michigan's probably like, that's good.
Yeah,
Get the hot board going for Michigan.
I think that the NCAA is easily going to be able to use this on top of the COVID infractions.
Beyond to Michigan.
And so what this would be by itself, a standalone incident, or I guess incidents that have been going on for a while, but just this on its own, you're probably getting maybe a hefty fine. Your staffer's probably getting forced to be let go. And maybe you're forcing the head coach, depending on what you can prove that person actually knew, maybe getting a suspension for a game. Now, on top of the COVID part of it, which obviously the NCAA, the issue that they had more than anything was that they felt that he was lying to them. And then you put this on top of it. Well, then now you have a pattern. So now this is where the NCAA would probably want to sink their teeth in a little bit more, or the Big Ten would want to make a stand, especially as you have
a Pete Carroll thing. Pete Carroll didn't want to mess with it, so he went to the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be. I just want the kid to turn state's evidence, and I want him to sit down with Rinaldi on game day
Cue the
and just
piano.
give it all out. Because think about this. As people are getting riled up about Michigan and, hey, go get Michigan, think about what this kid was doing. This is wild. He was purchasing tickets with his own credit card to go to, like, great games. Man, I would have been sitting on the other sideline. I want to go film and watch games.
Yeah.
He sat there and filmed.
That would suck.
One, like, did he have he had the charger, because there's no way, like, for 3.5, 4 hours, his phone has that much juice in it.
Sure does.
But man, my arm would hurt holding the phone like that. Did he have a tripod? Did he, like, just have a thing, like a selfie stick?
A selfie stick, yeah. Just hold up the selfie stick when your arm starts getting sore a little bit. But you're right about the fans. Is that where we are in society, though? That now
filming the whole game.
Somebody with their camera up the entire game, or at least in the majority of the game, other than TV timeouts, that somebody having their phone up is just more commonplace than anything? I mean, is that where we are? We're
Red
like,
hat, rest the arm.
It's like, that's just not really right. It's not a thing anymore.
Stealing signs or not,
It's not suspicious.
I can tell you that Nebraska football on 3rd and long or 3rd down period are going to have an empty backfield and they're going to run a quarterback draw. I don't need to steal your sign. I know that's going to happen. All right. Sam McEwen's coming up here in a little bit. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, DJ's Dugout is the place to watch all of the Nebraska games, and not just Nebraska football too, but Nebraska volleyball as well. And it is that time of the year where you get the best of both worlds, including the NFL on Sundays and Thursdays and Mondays, whenever it might go on. It's at DJ's Dugout, where they have 7 metro area locations. They have the best media walls that you're going to find, so there is never a bad seat in the house, and daily food and drink specials. It's an Omaha tradition to gather with family and friends and watch Nebraska or any of your favorite teams at DJ's Dugout. Voted Omaha's #1 sports bar, DJ's Dugout, locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Yes, by theory, it's a lesser version of the NFL because it's the same sport, not played by as good of athletes. But it's got its own vibe, as Nick would call it, its own feel, its own pulse, its own pace. And those are the things I think get lost if we just pare it down to helmet games.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing clouds Tuesday, still warm and breezy, however, with a high of 78 in Omaha. Southerly winds possible up to 30 miles an hour. A 30% chance of showers and storms later this evening and tonight. Staying mostly cloudy with a low of 59. More shower and storms possible tomorrow morning and again for your Wednesday evening. Staying breezy, a high tomorrow of 74 with gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown eastbound along I-80 near 126th Street. On Industrial Road, there's going to be some slowdown from 149 to 138th. And along Center, there's going to be some significant delays from 183rd all the way to Bob Boozer Drive. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Enjoy Romeo's Grande Pizza and Taco Combo. 1 large 2-topping pizza, 4 soft-shell tacos, chips, and queso dip for only $29.99. Only at Romeo's. Carry out only.
Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
Visit Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer, to find the perfect vehicle for wherever your plans take you. Shop SidDillonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Certified Transmission built its reputation on the job done right. It means hard work, honesty, and integrity.
And together, we ensure our customers leave satisfied and worry-free.
Certified Transmission, the job done right at the right price.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs have top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Omaha Maverick Hockey hosts Big Ten powerhouse Ohio State at Baxter Arena this Friday and Saturday. Pregame is at 6:45. Puck drop is at 7. It's UNO versus Ohio State this weekend on your home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Sam McCune of the World Herald joins us at 7:31 on a Tuesday of Purdue week. Good morning, Sam.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Well, we're hanging in. We're hanging in. I'm getting tired of this weird weather. Let's get to the cold, God.
No.
It's muggy this morning.
Whoa. We got a bad connection here. Did you just say let's get to the cold?
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
45? I'd take 45.
Oh.
I'm talking 10.
Yeah, okay.
I'm talking 45.
I'll check with you Saturday when you're wearing a ski cap in the press box.
68 right now.
Hey, I'm fat. I can handle it.
All right, on that
I'm getting
note.
tired of the heat.
No, this isn't heat. This is like comfortable. This is like where the San Diego with the Big Ten. It's been like 75,
God.
no humidity. It's been fantastic. Late October, I love it.
Well, when it's 100 degrees all summer long, I mean, the spiders are giant. I mean,
That is true. That's a great point, Sam.
Let's go. Let's get to the freeze. Time anyway.
All right. All right. So it's a crazy year for injuries. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do a deep dive. Not all the injuries are created the same, but they can do that when the season's over. Could I convince you, at least a little bit, that when it comes to the offensive line, you have Teddy Prohaska, who has started. You have Justin Evans-Jenkins, who almost became a starter at the beginning of the year. You have Lukovsky, who's played a fair amount. That this is not as a dire situation as it might seem on the offensive line, at least for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think it's manageable. It's not perfect. Certainly not perfect. I mean, there's guys that I'm sure they would love to be healthy. They're consistent and smart. Ethan Piper's a good leader. But yeah, I mean, I think they can survive it. They can survive it. Ben Scott's going to play, which I think is good. Evans Jenkins is someone they've liked for a while, probably since he got here. Tough guy, a little undersized, but he's grown. And then, Teddy, I think they're trying to do the right thing by Teddy by bringing him along, rep by rep, and trying to not throw him out there, for 75 snaps. But that's what they're going to have to do now. I mean, you're just going to have to put him out there and see how it goes. And certainly he's more athletic than the guy he's replacing. I just think they were trying really hard to not overdo his reps. I think they care about his long-term career. And I think they care about the long-term career of some of these guys that are hurt too. They're not going to make them, not Piper. I mean, Piper's, he got really hurt.
Yeah.
They're not going to make all these guys play through, things that they need significant surgery for in a month and a half. So I think they're trying to do right by these guys. And that I think informs some of the surgery issues.
Sam, how much of the next couple of weeks production from especially guys like Prohaska, Justin Evans Jenkins, and Latufsky, how much of just this offensive line production can be a little bit more of a gauge of what Donovan Raiola has meant to that group, to that offensive line group?
I think that's possible. I think you could see a little bit of him coming through here. Certainly Evans Jenkins is his recruit and a guy that he really likes. And Latufsky, Greg Austin loved him.
He did.
I think he was probably a great fit for the Austin style. He's been decent at times since, and he's played some this year. So, I think they've tried really hard to develop that group. I know they like a couple of guys that are redshirting. Offensive line's tricky. I wouldn't describe it as the most dominant offensive line I've ever seen, but that's just not the sport anymore. Like it's not. It's just hard to develop. Linemen that are 275 pounds and fly off the ball and pancake everybody. The sport's too complex defensively now. So I think that line's played okay. I mean, I think they've done. I thought they played okay against Northwestern. They didn't give up a sack and they made some holes for backs. Backs got to make people miss. Backs can't get pulled down by a shoe. Things like that. So I think they played okay at times this season. Not perfect, but not bad.
Hey, let's say we got 60 minutes and the offense plays really well with the current personnel, what does that look like?
They're running the ball with the back. They hit a couple of long quarterback runs where he gets out, not these option runs where he's getting, just hammered, but he gets out the other side, because they read it wrong. And they're able to hit, 2 or 3 passes of 25 yards or longer. That's probably what it looks like. And I think they've got, honestly, the play calls to do it. I understand why they started the game with the throw that they did. I think probably would have been better with the win instead of against it. But still not entirely sure why Harburg threw where he threw. I think probably because he's comfortable with Fedoni. But he could have thrown to somebody else there. He could have thrown a check down. That was open too. But Borkircher was wide open as well. So, just hitting. They want to hit big passes. And they feel like they can. When you run the ball as much as they do from under center and from shotgun, you should be able to get something. And so I think that's part of it. They want to hit a couple over the top. That's what it'll look like. 385 yards, 28 points. I think that's a good day for this offense given their injury situation.
Sam, you had asked Matt Rhule about this, and I'm glad you did, because when I'm watching Heinrich Harburg early in the game, and it wasn't just, being off the mark on that pass and just kind of looking a little bit out of rhythm, but it looked everything, like even his feet, it looked like he was having a tough time kind of gathering his feet, even when he was trying to move up in the pocket. Like it looked like it was just a little bit sluggish for him. And I know you kind of asked about, the process from, how he was in the first half to where he was in the second half. It was an interesting answer from Matt Rhule that I know he kind of had quoted June Jones on that. What did you take away from how Matt Rhule assessed Heinrich Haarberg from the first quarter to the fourth?
Well, I think he talked about the three stages that quarterbacks find themselves in, and I think Haarberg's in the second stage, which is, you've learned a little bit more about the position and you want to do a good job, and so you're going to study your position, but simultaneously you're working through, sort of the mental learning curve of it. So he's not just playing by raw instinct at this point, nor has he reached that final stage of mastery, but he's kind of fighting through just the natural improvements that quarterbacks make when they're reading defenses and things like that. I'd love to talk to Rhule for an hour about that, just about that specific thing. I know he thinks a lot about quarterback play, but I think one of the things that I would say about what he's trying to say is on the first play of the game, you're trying to hit a big play. So there's this broad, scope component there. You're not really trying to hit a 4-yard pass. You're trying to hit a chunk pass so you can get on the other side of the 50 and you can get a drive going. If you go back to his very first game, second play of the game, they hit Marcus Washington for 27 yards. On that one, he just kind of let it rip and he knew exactly where he wanted to go. It didn't take him long and he threw the football. I think on Saturday, the decision that he made, the guy that he decided to throw to there on a deep end, you want to look deep first, right? That's the whole point of that play and so he kind of maybe lost it a little bit, lost where he wanted to go with it. So I think those are the kind of things of like, hey, where do we want to go with this throw? Okay, we want to do this, this, and this. And so I think that's what that's where he's trying to improve. The other thing with Haarberg, and Rhule didn't mention this, but Haarberg did. He's got to protect himself physically.
Yes.
Some of these are, you cannot take some of the shots that he took. He took some real punishment.
That play at the goal line where he scored, man, he got hammered.
He did, and you have to be thoughtful about, all of those things. Those were, Northwestern hit. They hit hard, and so he probably took about as much as he's taken. He said he did, and he said he's got to do a better job of, being the person who applies the physicality. I think what he means by that is just, you can protect yourself by being a little bit more physical, so long as you're not jamming your shoulder into everybody. And I think at times he's got to get a little more aware of where people are and where they're coming to hit it, because he's a big target and they will see off, and they did. They don't really call much when they hit you in the ribs and the shoulder and in the back. And those are brutal hits, by the way. So, he's tough. Haarberg is a tough kid, and I think he's learning on the fly how to play this position.
Hey, you brought up an interesting thing. Sam McKeon of the World Herald joining us. You brought up in your column yesterday, and I guess I hadn't even started to think about this, but I think Nash Hutmacher is in line to be, the most all Big Ten guy on this current roster. And why not? Look at the way he is playing. And it's a great story of where he was kind of at this time last year to where he is now. But you made a comment that I'm with you, but I hadn't thought about it. And it's probably something to keep an eye on as this season unfolds. Do you really think that this could possibly be Nash's last year here?
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to be one more after this, but it's possible. It is possible. This is his fourth year, and maybe he wants to. I just kind of feel like he's going to go ahead and do one more cycle. And I think he can improve his draft stock that way. I think there's things about his game he can get better at. I think he's having fun. And I think he could probably stand just one more year in the league. And everybody who decides to come back is going to get more exposure. So that's one thing, is that you can present to your players, listen now, you're going to play USC next year, and that means every NFL team on the West Coast is going to be watching. And that is true. USC gets a lot of attention from the NFL. So, hey, you're going to play that game. You're going to play Ohio State. Deion Sanders is going to bring a team in here. So you're going to have all these opportunities to show people, who you are when you play UCLA as well. And I think that's going to probably be appealing. I do think Ty Robinson has a chance to go and maybe will. And I thought that's part of what, Rhule was saying, on Monday is, this guy.
He was building him up.
Play in the NFL, so, and Newsom's the same way. I think both of them are going to go ahead and go and probably should. It's their fifth year in school. And, if you're going to come back for a sixth year, I would say you better have a plan to do something other than play in the NFL. Like you're coming back to get an advanced degree or, to prolong and, to maybe think about going into coaching. And I think Robinson and Newsom will go and a few others will too. It's possible Ben Hart's played his way into the NFL draft, and that's okay. Like you can't worry too much about guys that decide to move on to the next level. That's happening every year.
Sam, I want to flip back to the offense for a moment too. And we saw Emmett Johnson start. We kind of heard the same type of narrative about both Emmett Johnson and Anthony Grant yesterday, and it's all about the week of practice and how they're able to take care of the football. Do you look at Anthony Grant's role right now as one very similar to what we saw with Northwestern? Or do you think he still has an opportunity to be the first running back out there here going forward?
Well, I think he's going to play, and there's going to be opportunities for him to play. And I think Emmett Johnson is going to play, and hopefully those two guys can stay healthy. And so I think it's going to go back and forth a little bit. You're gonna see both guys. I think they have to play both. I think if Emmett Johnson's running between the tackles this way for 4 or 5 more games, he's probably going to get banged up. So, Grant's going to play. And the really interesting question there, Nick, is first, what do they put on tape for the last 5 games? Can each of them find a way to average, let's say, 40 yards per game? And that would be pretty good if the two of them were able to combine for 80. Okay, so there's that. And then, what does the position look like heading into next season? Like, who do you have healthy? Who's available? Do you go in the portal? Do you rely on Ives? That's an area to examine. A team that does a terrific job with this is Minnesota. They're really, really good at being able to bring the next back and the next back and the next back in. And they lose guys and they develop more guys. So Nebraska's got to get to that point, and I'm sure they're working on it. But they've got to find players who can stay healthy and durable and multiple backs. So we'll see what happens over the back half of 5 games. I know this: if they're able to make a bowl, and they have a chance, obviously, to do that, it would just be so helpful for that team to get some more practices for Ives, and who I think is really talented, and give some people a chance to prepare for a bowl game. December 26th, guaranteed rate, Phoenix, playing Iowa State. That'd be pretty sweet. I know a lot of people would love it. I mean, they just love it. So, I think that's, if you're looking at ideal scenarios, that might be the one that everybody circles. Although I'll say this, if Nebraska gets to 7 wins, they're going to go to at least Vegas, because everybody's been waiting to invite Nebraska to a bowl game for 6 years. Wherever Nebraska goes, they're going to send 30,000 fans. So bowls are not going to go, well, let's pick Minnesota. No, they're not going to pick Minnesota. Everybody's going to be fighting for Nebraska. Yeah. So, if Nebraska gets to 7 wins, all of a sudden Vegas is in play. And if they get to 8, which I don't anticipate, but if they did, then they're going to Florida. They're going to New Year's Day Bowl. So, yeah.
Well, we'll get chatted on this. So you've covered this program for a long time, and there have been very, very few, if any, James Williams stories. What does the use of James Williams on Saturday against Northwestern tell you about the culture on that side of the ball, the coaching, and the development? That a guy who had made one travel roster but hadn't played yet, all of a sudden was on the field in key moments at the beginning and the end of the game Saturday.
Tells you that they're willing to play just about anybody that they feel like can help win games. And Nebraska didn't really need James Williams to play. They have other pass rushers. This isn't the offense, right? So it just shows you their willingness to put players in position to do something positive. And if they see a skill set that you're able to exploit and help the team with, they're going to give you a chance. I think that's probably the overarching theme there, and that's true on offense too. I mean, they're playing tight ends that Luke Lindenmeyer plays quite a bit, Barrett Liebentritt. They find ways to get guys on the field and to help the team, and they're resourceful that way. And I think that's something that a player can appreciate, because deep down, what most players want is just a chance to play. And I think with this coaching staff, you'll get that chance. If you practice it and you play hard, you're going to get a chance. And James Williams, who freely admitted that he didn't really understand the culture at Nebraska for the first couple months he was here, turned the corner, got a role, and made the best of it. And now he's probably going to get another chance as a result of making the best of what happened on Saturday. And I think that's a testament to the way that this coaching staff wants to operate.
Yeah. Sam, great stuff. Appreciate it. Have a good week. Stay warm, and we'll see you Saturday.
All right, take care.
Speaking of warm, was it 24/7 in their projections as Nebraska in the Citrus Bowl?
Jesus.
Wow, we've gone there.
Hey, why stop in Vegas? Let's go to Florida, baby.
Wait, yesterday you were saying let's just get to 6.
Well, we got to get to 6, and then it could be Detroit, could be Toledo, Miami of Ohio, could be Vegas, could be New York City. I'll back it up. The whole goal is to get to 6, because as Sam just alluded to, we've talked about, man, the enormity of playing football, extending your season in December for this collection.
Yeah,
man, there could be more benefits than we can even imagine with this group of guys.
More so than I can remember in past years.
I'm going through the depth chart yesterday. It is tough to find guys whose eligibility is expiring. Now, some guys might be processed out. Some guys might want to get on with their life. But there are very few players that, when this season is over, that are on the current depth chart, whether they were injured and are off of it, that their eligibility is up. I see a lot of FRs, RFR, and SOs on that depth chart. You don't think they would benefit by another week, 2 weeks of practice in December with another game?
There's 10 total seniors. Total. And that's, I mean, you're talking about guys that could still, like if a Marcus Washington was able to get a red shirt or a medical waiver, there are guys that are still part of this that you could see come back. But yeah, I mean, a lot of what you're seeing rotating in, especially on the defensive side of it too. Think about so many years where we always underscore the importance. And I thought even the year that Nebraska made it at 5-7 in Mike Riley's first year, I think the discussion then was, well, you still got a group that is learning under Mike Riley and this coaching staff. So you get them together a little bit longer. You're able to extend your season. That could be very important. But when you think about the youth of this team and guys that are already starting to contribute and to have a little bit more preparation time, have a little bit more time together, and also be able to get ready for a game where you can start to see some freshmen that's not going to impact their eligibility too. Yeah, this is 1 year.
Yeah, that bowl game doesn't count.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, you could technically play 5 games. You get there. But I would say this, if we can see Nebraska become bowl eligible before Maryland comes to Lincoln, that's when I think you can start getting nuts. Start talking about a lot of different scenarios of, all right, why stop at 6 now? You still got 3 games left. Why stop at 6? I don't know. It's a weird concept because they're right now at 4. And you've got interesting games coming up. And, of course, with the news yesterday of the injuries, it's...
Well, I should have asked Sam this. I mean, and Sam wasn't alone. I mean, we all felt this. With the talent level on this roster, not very good. They win 6 games with the talent level and the injuries. What does that say for 24, 25, and beyond? Well, something to think about. All right, 7:52. A little bit later, Brian Christopherson will join us. When we come back, you already know that it's going to be a monster year for Creighton men's basketball. The Big East is just reminding you in their preseason selections how big of a year it's going to be. It's going to be a big year for that conference. That conference is absolutely loaded. They've got personalities that are coaching. They've got teams that are really good, including the defending national champion. And they just announced where Creighton is in the preseason. and you're not going to lose your mind like you do in the past and go, geez, East Coast bias. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, it's the car that I drive over at Woodhouse Mazda, and it's the 2024 Mazda CX-5. This one, it's old reliable. Look, it's got all of the things that you look for in a reliable vehicle, like iActive all-wheel drive, especially as we get to the colder months and you're taking on different elements out there with Mother Nature. Well, you got the peace of mind of that. It also gives you an elevated driving experience when it comes to the balance and responsive handling and effortless acceleration with a My Drive option that lets you customize your drive modes along various roads and conditions. Also, the Mazda Connected Services lets you remotely start your engine, check vehicle status updates, and so much more. And right now, you can get into a 2024 Mazda CX-5 on great deals at the turbo model. Choose 0.9% APR for 36 months, or 2.9% APR for 60 months, or 3.9% APR for 72 months. Stop into one of two convenient locations at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda on 144th and Giles Road. You will always experience a streamlined purchasing experience at woodhousemazda.com or woodhouseplacemazda.com, where you can browse inventory and even start your deal online. Get into a 2024 Mazda CX-5 today at Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing. With approved credit, tax, title, and license extra when financed with Mazda Financial Services. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 10/31/23. See dealer for details.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air.
Awesome.
Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's four-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
So, Isabella, you're in high school earning college credits?
Tuition-free college credits.
Tuition-free? Your mom's gotta...
Love that.
Hey, Maya, hold up. You'll graduate from high school.
But my college gen ed's knocked out. Tuition-free.
That's gotta save you and your parents thousands in college tuition. How about you, Ian?
I'll be debt-free thanks to MCC.
Earn college credits while still in high school. Tuition-free. Get started at mccneb.edu/tuition-free. Classes start December 2nd.
This is me at MCC.
It started in Lincoln. Now it's in Omaha. It's Muchachos. At the heart of Muchachos is family. Muchachos uses new Mexican flavors with smoked barbecue passed down from generations. This flavor sensation is called New Mexican Barbecue Fusion. Come get your eat on and nosh on slow smoked pork brisket, chicken, queso, and mac. Try the fan favorite Hatch Mac Burrito with a craft beer or margarita. Muchachos is south of the Old Market at 1285 South 13th Street, or check them out at yomuchacho.com.
If you haven't updated your windows, you could be throwing money out the window. Don't let the cool air out. Upgrade today with J-Tech Construction. For a limited time, get 60 months with 0% interest. Plus, as an added bonus, every window gets a special rated UV upgrade for free. Save money, keep the cool air in, and be happier when you upgrade your windows with the official exterior experts of Nebraska Athletics. For more info, go to yourexteriorexperts.com. Subject to credit approval.
Get a full breakdown of what went right and what went wrong immediately after every Nebraska game with Big Red Overreaction, presented by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. And by Coors Light, keeping Nebraska chill. Also brought to you by Chase Senate Contracting, Dingman's Collision Center and Mechanical Repair, and Rotella's Italian Bakery. Immediately after the game, join the show and sound off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Big Red Overreaction with the Keg and 1620 The Zone.
Vallis Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
It's another home game for Nebraska football. That means Unauthorized Big Bird Breakfast is on the road. Join me, Gary Sharp, along with Nick Handley from Sharp and Handley in the morning this Friday. Each home game Friday, we're there. And this year, our new home is Hy-Vee. We'll be on the road at various Hy-Vees each home game Friday, breaking down all the big stories and each Husker game.
This week, join us at the Shadow Lake 73rd and Papillion location. Hy-Vee featuring a breakfast buffet just for our show. One trip for $12 or all you can eat for $15. Every home game with Sharp and Handley at Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone.
It's Halloween at Genesis Health Clubs. Join with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every month. It may be the spookiest time of the year, but starting a new fitness routine doesn't have to be scary. Genesis Health Clubs has top-of-the-line equipment and the absolute best personal trainers, tennis professionals, and group fitness instructors to help keep you motivated and headed towards your fitness goals. Plus, relax in luxury afterwards with saunas, steam rooms, and fluffy towel service. Whatever your fitness needs, Genesis is here to help every step of the way, and there's nothing scary about that. This Halloween, join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month. But hurry, this offer will end before you have a chance to count your Halloween candy. It ends on Halloween and won't extend. Come to Genesis and get in the best shape of your life so you can handle anything those zombies, werewolves, and vampires throw at you. Plus, get your New Year's resolutions checked off with time to spare. Join Genesis Health Clubs with no enrollment fee, no contract, and save 31% per month every single month.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, there's been times where the preseason Big East poll comes out and Creighton is, I don't know, 5th, 6th. When you think they're going to be 3 or 4, people get all agitated. They get, as the kids call, triggered. So I was thinking, what would it take to get people triggered today? Well, if they're not 1st or 2nd, you're not going to be triggered today because the Big East preseason poll is out. It's Big East Media Days at MSG today, and Creighton is 2nd behind Marquette, who won it last year. Tyler Kolek is the preseason player of the year. Now, that's a shocker.
Tyler Kolek is the preseason player of the year?
Huge shocker. Because he was the player of the year last year. Now, this is a little bit of surprise. Not a bad surprise. So Ryan Kalkbrenner, unanimous on the first team. Trey Alexander is actually on the first team as well. Baylor Shireman is on the second team. All Big East. Alexander, Kalkbrenner, Hopkins, Soriano, and Moore are the first team, all Big East. Marquette, Creighton, UConn, Villanova, St. John's, Xavier, Providence, Georgetown, Seton Hall, Butler, and then DePaul.
It'll be a fun season.
The
a fun league.
Let's see. Looking at the honorable mentions here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
No.
Give me a participation ribbon. All right. So it's it's like interesting, like the duo. Like Kalkbrenner, Alexander are the best duo in the Big East. But the 2 top players that are going to be drafted will be from UConn. Would you agree?
And
neither one, one, it's no surprise he's not first or second team. The other is a second teamer.
Yeah, Donovan and what are you talking about, Donovan Clingan?
Who we get to see for the first time, Stephon Castle, who's a really good, is a freshman,
He's
really
freshman
good
year.
guard. Yeah, preseason freshman of the year. He will be drafted. He'll probably be a lottery pick as well.
It's a question for Creighton. I don't think there's any surprise with Alexander and Kalkbrenner right there too, and Shireman being part of the second team. But Ashworth, if he can put himself into the newcomer of the year conversation, if the type of season and the type of shoes that he's filling with Ryan Nembhard too, and how important that role is going to be for Ashworth. That, I think, is when you kind of look at what Creighton is going to be rolling out this year. To me, that is going to be a major role. And if it works well, which I think there's a lot of people that believe that Ashworth is going to be more than adequate as far as a replacement for Nembhard, then there's where you're looking at that roster kind of coming together too. Because I think the development of Isaac Trout is also going to be kind of fun to watch throughout the season too. But yeah, the Stephen Ashworth addition to this team, when you start looking at the newcomer, and this obviously would be a postseason type of thing, or end of the regular season, does Ashworth put his name into that mention, into those mentions? Because if he is, then that means I think Creighton, because I don't think anybody really worries too much about Trey Alexander Kalkbrenner and Shireman in that core group. But Ashworth, Rhule, and what Creighton lost with Ryan Nembhard, especially down the stretch too. That one is going to be, I think, the glue that kind of keeps that starting five and that keeps that offense as productive as we've seen it so many times.
All right, basketball season begins 2 weeks from yesterday. Nebraska has an exhibition game this weekend. Creighton's is week from Friday. They play Wayne State, I think.
Most hated rivals.
So Nebraska gets done in an exhibition. Omaha gets done for their first one out of the gate, right?
Yep.
All right. Why isn't Creighton playing down?
Because they have the connection to Wayne State.
Okay.
BC is going to join us a little bit later on in the show on this Tuesday morning. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, Shop, Woodhouse Buick GMC at 119th and I, climate-controlled indoor showroom. The weather's going to the end of this week, and you need a vehicle. That should not stop you because you can find what you're looking for. They simply have something for everyone. Stylish SUVs to comfortable passenger vehicles to capable trucks to get the job done for you. And right now, they got a great deal on a 23 Buick Enclave Avenir. All-wheel drive. You can save up to $3,000 off MSRP. It gives you heads-up display, Amazon Alexa built-in, wireless smartphone charging, adaptive cruise control. It's a comfortable vehicle to drive at a great price right now. And don't forget, saves $3,000 off MSRP. You can see dealer for details. This offer expires on Halloween. And also, the 23 GMC Yukons, you've been asking for them. They are arriving and available. Plus, the 24 GMC Sierra 2500 pickup truck has just shown up at Woodhouse Buick GMC at 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown eastbound along I-80 near 126th Street. On Industrial Road, there's going to be some slowdown from 149th to 138th. And along Center, there's going to be some significant delays from 183rd all the way to Bob Boozer Drive. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Signworks.
Since 1935, businesses all around Omaha have trusted one sign company with their visual branding, Signworks. We design, manufacture, and install signs of all kinds, including high-tech message centers like the new installation at Steelhouse Omaha. We can make your sign too. SignworksOmaha.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
It's another home game for Nebraska football. That means Unauthorized Big Bird Breakfast is on the road. Join me, Gary Sharp, along with Nick Handley from Sharp and Handley in the morning this Friday. Each home game Friday, we're there. And this year, our new home is Hy-Vee. We'll be on the road at various Hy-Vees each home game Friday, breaking down all the big stories and each Husker game.
This week, join us at the Shadow Lake 73rd and Papillion location. Hy-Vee featuring a breakfast buffet just for our show. One trip for $12 or all you can eat for $15. Every home game with Sharp and Handley at Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Kings. Last year, we were the number 3 seed. We stayed healthy. Keegan Murray, year number 2.
I was wondering if he rolled with him
De'Aaron
again.
Fox, here we go, baby. Sacramento Kings are my league pass team. NBA starts tonight.
We're rolling with the Thunder again, too?
They're going to be my secondary team, but I'm rolling with the Kings. I like the Thunder, though. I'm still debating. Jordan Poole or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be the leading scorer in the NBA this year.
I'm going to go SGA.
Not bad. He was 31 plus last year.
See, and I'm more of the I will. You guys will learn this about me too. I get more into the postseason stuff because being a Bulls fan for a while.
Yeah, your head coach would be the first guy that's fired.
Come on,
Billy
don't do that
Donovan
to
will be
Billy.
the first head
Don't
coach
do
that'll
that
be
to
fired.
Billy. No.
I want Jordan Poole. I think Jordan Poole will be. So I'm in a bunch of props. I think Jordan Poole will be the first to score 50 this year. I think he's not going to give a what with the Wizards, and they're in full rebuild mode. But they're going to be interesting to watch. I could see Jordan Poole averaging 35 a game.
Ooh. Yeah. Given all those factors, 35 a game. That's like the late 80s all over again.
Well, I mean, there aren't a lot of options in Washington.
He is.
So they'll be fun to watch. Plus, he's just out of Golden State. People are doubting him. Be like, I'm going to shoot a lot. I hope Zion plays 60 or more games.
God, I want to see it. I want to see
10
healthy
assists
Zion
a game.
So remember when he went into the league, and just thinking that this is going to be one of those generational talents, and there was reason to believe so, but just cannot stay healthy, and just that game, especially coming out of college, it was exciting. So I'm always hoping that Zion can give us at least a full season, even if he's being load managed. Just give me a full season of Zion where he is not derailed by injuries, and to see him at his full potential. Because I meant the conversation is Zion a bust? Is he going to be a bust? And I don't think we can say that until he's actually fully healthy and he can actually get through a season. But that is one dude that when he is on, when again, health-wise, but also acclimated, I think that's must see. I think he's must see. He's one of those guys that I wish I would have had a chance to see in college.
So
the year he was there.
With your now you're talking about the Pels. Should I go all in on their coach as coach of the year?
Do you think the Pels are going to be good this year?
I don't need to win the West. I mean, the West is a beast.
Yeah,
12th.
Again, have a decent
my
record.
Light the Bean team, they could finish 11th and have a really good year.
Be better than last year. That's a good team. I mean, they learned a lot in that playoff last year.
Last year they were the number 3 seed last year.
Yeah,
got to the 7 against Golden State. We'll be rocking at the Golden One Center.
Are we excited about the Lakers at all this year?
Who?
Yeah.
They were okay after the trade deadline, and LeBron's 38.
I wish him the worst.
So LeBron is this is year 21. Anthony Davis is the face of the franchise.
He's the face, yes, and that was even said by Anthony
They have
Davis.
a very intriguing roster.
They still have Hillbilly Kobe.
Austin Reeves is still there. I don't think I see the team that shares an arena with them going further.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna.
I know you're not an NBA guy.
I'm not a huge NBA guy, so I'm gonna
Their
yield
new
to you
place
guys
with
on
all
this
the
one, but-
toilets is almost ready.
Do you have any opinion on the NBA this year?
Pick a
Before
team.
the season starts?
Pick a random team and roll with them.
No, I'm a Bulls fan. I know their win total is right now projected at 37, so it tampers my excitement when it comes
You need
to
a cheat team. Pick a Western Conference team.
There's not named. There's
I
not
can't get
named
on the
Portland,
San
San
Antonio.
Antonio, or
Oh,
Houston.
come on!
They'll be the three worst teams in the West.
Come on. Wait,
But Portland's fine.
you didn't say Denver. Can I get on Denver's?
No,
bandwagon?
the three worst teams will be
Oh,
Portland.
the worst teams.
Houston, and
Okay.
San
Spurs
Antonio.
still got a ways to go. Got to get some more dudes around Wemby, but they'll be fun.
I wonder how long Dougie McBuckets stays in San Antonio if he becomes an asset.
Yeah, there we go.
to
Omaha's
move
team.
off.
I want to see. We'll see. And I always, kind of paid a little attention to him when he's in OKC as well. But San Antonio, and
Come on over, Nick. We'll get you a
see him with
Fiesta logo
Wemby.
shirt.
Wemby's. Look, I like Greg Popovich too, and I know he doesn't have many more years to go with this thing. So I wouldn't
Talking
mind
about his
seeing.
career or life.
It's a tad bit morbid.
that was slightly morbid there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, as a coach, because I do wonder if they do not get the Wemby sweepstakes. I mean, are we looking at the last year or two of Greg Popovich as a coach? I think now you're revitalized.
Yeah, if they don't,
You got to see this thing through.
I don't know. There's somebody in Vegas that I think you could plug into San Antonio.
Okay, I'll buy it. Who are you
You're
talking
not-
about? Who are you talking about?
Here,
Becky.
Hey, you and I talked Spurs.
Oh,
here.
oh, yeah.
You-
Okay,
you-
yeah.
You'd be on the side.
Okay.
Still bitter about 1990 losing to Portland. Rod Strickland.
So here's
I'll
my
provide
thing.
some colored anecdotes here.
If Wemby doesn't win the Rookie of the Year, which the only way he probably doesn't is if he gets injured. Knock
Right.
on wood, he doesn't, because that would be a loss for all of us as basketball fans.
Yeah, I'll get there.
So I went Scoot Henderson. I know a lot of people are going to go Chet, and Chet Holmgren has looked pretty good in the preseason, but I'm going Scoot. And I like where Portland's going to be in a few years, just
for them.
not this year. But I think the expectations should be high for Wemby.
Should be.
He's
Look what
going
he's
to be
done already.
He's going to be one of the rare guys that actually blocks jumpers. Like you're going up for a jump shot, and he will be able to block it. Tell you,
What he did last week against Clay.
hey, what he defensively, he is already very, very skilled. I think his offensive game is going to take a little bit because of the pieces around him. But people are going to have to prepare for him. It's just he's so unorthodox.
He's an alien.
He's a unicorn. Can you be a unicorn and an alien at the same time?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
Can
yes.
be. It'd be like a very rare unicorn that all of a sudden has alien type
I don't
forms.
know.
Like, hell no.
Is the basketball world ready for him?
Well, and
they don't realize what's coming.
Yeah.
And that's why. So for someone who's
8:30 tomorrow night.
someone who's more of a casual NBA viewer, and someone who again just kind of locks in on his team and then get disinterested, I'll be perfectly honest with them because they leave me disinterested. And until the postseason
We're gonna
rolls
pick your
around,
Western
like,
Conference
but Wembanyama, like for people like me, gets you excited about watching him. Like when you have again sort of that must-see talent that's so rare that does so many different things you just don't see on a given night, and you have a chance to see him sort of develop and grow as the season progresses, and how that confidence kind of kicks in, and how big of a weapon that he can be for San Antonio. Like what that looks like by the end of the season, assuming that he stays healthy. Like that to me is what is going to make more casual NBA fans like actually watching probably on a weekly basis.
I think they win about 35, 37 games.
You're not an NBA guy. That's pretty evident here. But I'm gonna go off something you just said, which is kind of interesting, because you'll follow like stories. Okay, you don't have a team outside of the Bulls, and you said you're a casual viewer.
Yep.
But you'll follow stories like a lot of people in non-NBA cities do. Like they'll follow San Antonio. Chet Holmgren is a little bit different. You'll wait to see, when the Sixers send Harden home and he ends up with the Clippers later in the year. Or when we have the mega trade this season where Joel Embiid is traded to Miami for Bam Adebayo and Duncan Robinson.
I'll
and
get
a
behind
pick.
that. All right.
See, I think Bam First of all, Bam's only 26. He's my defensive player of the year in the NBA. But there is not much crossover. So there's a lot of crossover from the college football fan to the NFL fan. There's not the opposite way. Like if you are just an NFL fan, you probably live in an area where college football isn't prevalent, so you don't follow it as much unless you went to school at a good college football place. But the college football fan on Saturday will also hang out on Sunday. I don't see it as much as the college basketball fan that is extremely passionate about their sport. They're not dabbling in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. I used to hear
the
that
NBA,
all the time
the
in
NBA
college.
will pay attention to college basketball, but not as much. I just think there's not as good a relationship in the fan base between football and basketball. Like football, our weekends in the fall, we're football Saturday, we're football Sunday.
Yeah.
Basketball is, maybe I'll pay attention tonight, but I'm waiting for November 6th to start.
Yeah.
And then I'll check in periodically like yourself. I'll wait until the postseason begins.
I was one of the few people that would watch college basketball and pro basketball. I mean, it's just, I grew up in a basketball city, and so it's what you did.
Well,
but most people didn't watch till March.
I mean, until I went to Miami, I didn't pay much attention. I mean, I followed the NBA, but I was not like all invested for 82 games.
Yeah.
And then you're at a place where that's your team and you can go see them. You don't have to go out of your way to go see them. But I think this year, so here's my prediction. Get ready. They'll hang the 18th banner in Boston. Boston will beat Denver in the final. Denver and Phoenix will give us an incredible Western Conference final because I think Phoenix could be one of the most efficient offenses we've seen in a while. And remember, my Sacramento Kings were the most efficient team in the NBA offensively last year. That's what Phoenix will be this year.
It's a decent prediction. That'd be a good final.
Your Sacramento Kings.
Jeff Van Gundy's on the Boston staff now.
You're a Miami fan.
But I got to have a West Coast team.
Oh, okay.
I'm like the Charger fan.
Okay.
And here I'm sticking with the King theme. Malik Monk will be the sixth man.
I like that.
If not, Caleb Martin of Miami will be the sixth man.
You gotta be excited with Embiid to Miami.
Yeah,
that's manifest that.
I want that to happen.
I think that's interesting. Now, is that to make up for the sting of not getting Dame?
Yes.
Okay.
Dame, Durant. I mean, where do you want to start? We go on and on and on.
There's no state income tax.
Yes. But essentially the NBA will play, and they'll have we have a tournament this year, an in-season tournament. It essentially comes down to, here's the only teams that really have an opportunity to win a title. Lakers, Golden State, Denver, Phoenix, Milwaukee, Boston. Sacramento, Miami, and the LA Clippers are kind of like on the outside, in my opinion.
Yes. And the Bulls will get nowhere close to the playoffs again.
And also, this will be the first time that an American-born player will win the MVP since 17-18.
There's a good prediction.
The pride of St. Louis, Missouri, the Duke Blue Devil, Jason Tatum will win the MVP.
I hope
like
so.
This. This is
I hope so.
I can get behind this.
Although Jokic might have something to say about that. But yeah, I hope so.
My MVP.
Now, and watching Tatum in the playoffs, like, yeah, I would want that for him. Like that dude, especially with some of the nights that he had, some of the off nights that he had, like that's a guy though that I feel like, hey, he is the heart and soul of that organization. And I would think, to your prediction, if they're able to win that final game of the season, that I would think that Jason Tatum is a big part of it.
Get ready, hang the
declared champion.
Just start doing the little cross stitch right now on the 18th banner.
Yeah,
Boston will win the championship. You see how Jeff Van Gundy is on?
Yeah, he's on their staff.
there
Missoula
now.
will grow a lot this year from last year, and then having Jeff on staff.
And
as a
see, I almost
consultant.
forgot about the Missoula coaching there in the postseason too, which was
No, they're setting up to have a big year.
That would be good. Boston. So that was a team that
If there's a fight, he can come on the floor as ceremonial and just get on the floor again, his hair everywhere.
Miss him though, man. We're gonna get, before the week's over, you get Breen, Doc Rivers, and Doris Burke.
It's gonna be brutal. Minus Breen.
Love
Mike
Doris.
Breen.
I love Doris. I really do. I think Doris is great, but Doc, no thanks.
Right.
Doris Burke is.
Hey, if
one
anyone's
of the
down
best.
3-1, nobody's better at blowing those leads, so he can lend that expertise in there.
Give some insight
Also,
there.
you want another prop? So Dylan Brooks last year had 18 technical fouls in a contract year.
Going over.
He got paid. Oh,
yeah.
God, yeah.
That's easy.
Dylan Brooks will go well over 18 technical fouls this year.
Yeah, that's easy money.
Back into the football world. Something we talked about with Sam McEwen about injuries. I do think you can turn this into a positive. And is Nebraska going to have even a better offensive line on Saturday than Purdue? We'll get into that. Coming up next, it's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, speaking of the NBA, there are 2 games tonight. There are 2 big games. You know what? I mean, you can't win an NBA championship without going 1-0 in the NBA. It's been proven many times. And all you have to do tonight, jump into the NBA season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers get 3 months of the NBA League Pass to watch my Sacramento Kings, courtesy of FanDuel, when they place a $5 bet on the NBA.
And that way you can watch all of the action as you bet on everything from point spreads to player props. Best of all, you'll get paid your winnings instantly. And don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. Just visit FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. That's FanDuel.com/zone. And tip off the NBA season right. FanDuel, official partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in Iowa. New customer offer. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. All customer offers. $5 NBA wager required. Limit 1 pass per customer across both offers. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See full terms for both offers at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. NBA League Pass. Local blackout restrictions apply.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Previously on The Crossover.
Let me mow it for you. Hire me.
Hire Nick. I don't know if I'll hire you, Nick.
I'm really good at mowing.
Wow. He's offering his services.
Okay, fine. How much do you want to charge me? I'm bad at this. I don't want to lowball myself.
Cancel.
Totally
cancel.
$50, Josh. Give me 50.
For how many times? One time?
Yes.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing clouds Tuesday, still warm and breezy, however, with a high of 78 in Omaha. Southerly winds possible up to 30 miles an hour. A 30% chance of showers and storms later this evening and tonight. Staying mostly cloudy with a low of 59. More shower and storms possible tomorrow morning and again for your Wednesday evening. Staying breezy, a high tomorrow of 74 with gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay northbound along the JFK near 25th and Q Street. Then eastbound along I-80, be prepared for some significant slowdowns from 144th all the way to 126th. And along Industrial Road, there's going to be a lot of traffic from 149th all the way to 120th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Sure, you could go elsewhere for your health and wellness products, or better yet, why not just come to 42 Degrees? Those other places don't even come close to the wide variety and premium disposable e-juice, CBD, Delta, Kratom, glass pipes, vaporizers, and other great products. With the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff who will find the right products just for you. If you're looking for a one-stop shopping experience, look no further. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Creighton Sports Update.
Single game tickets for the 2023-24 Creighton women's basketball season are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to catch the nationally ranked Blue Jays at DJ Sokol Arena for 14 exciting home games this season, with the first one coming up on Monday, October 30th at 6 p.m. Purchase today by visiting gocreighton.com/buy. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Don't want to leave the house? Too cold? Don't want to pack up the kids? Hosting a football watch party? Order Cops Pizza Delivery. In celebration of their 4-year anniversary, Cops is offering free delivery through October 31st on delivery orders of $50 when placed online. Cops has locations at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click copspizza.com to see the menu, place your delivery order, and enter the code FREE DELIVERY. All one word in lowercase.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, NBA is back tonight. It's also the first time since Obama was in the White House and the Chainsmokers had a top hit. The Dodgers and the Astros will not be in the World Series. We do have a Game 7 tonight. Does not have the same feel like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But we have Game 7 of the NLCS tonight between Philadelphia and Arizona. The winner gets to go to Arlington on Friday and play in the Weber Grill.
Big airplane hangar. Arizona, Philadelphia, classic baseball rivalry, the kind that they talk about for spring training.
Hey, just imagine how cool it'd be if I'm the Diamondbacks and I'm celebrating in that stadium and that whole crowd is just on mute.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you went in there and won 2 games. But Torey Lovella say, then go across the country, get our ass kicked?
Yeah.
Dusty Baker said, hey, we went home and got our ass kicked.
Dusty Baker looked a little worn out.
Well, he's
yesterday.
He's done.
Yeah.
He just looked a little worn out.
You see how he went off on Friday? Trust me, that took a lot of energy.
Hey, he's an HOFer.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was perfect for Houston at the time when they needed stability in the dugout.
Yep.
And I'm glad he was going to leave with a 2-time World Series champion. Clinching games is somewhat of his kryptonite.
Yeah.
Should have left Russ Ortiz in.
Yeah, and maybe he abused some pitchers when he was the manager of the Cubs. He's a different manager than he was when he was in Chicago.
Yeah.
So his farewell, he's 74. Heck of a baseball life. But he was absolutely the right guy for the Houston Astros when they needed it.
Yeah. Happy he got one last year. They loved playing for him. It's a good job. They're not going anywhere, and that's why I was like, well, that sucks, but some years it's just not meant to be, but it's not like they're going to go back to the 110 loss team when I lived there in 2012. So they'll be back. They just they need to shore up the pitching, and they need to continue to stockpile dudes, and they'll be right there.
Maybe if they would pull a Michigan, they'd be right back there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Connor Stallion, if he's available.
Yeah, he might be.
Okay, so what Sam said earlier in our discussion, it's up on the radio replay page, got me thinking about offensive line, and so I'm gonna turn this into a positive. It'd be easy to be woe is me, and I mean, you look at one side of the ball that statistically is worse than Iowa, and you have 7 original starters that are out, I'm going to turn this into a positive, especially in the offensive line. He got me to thinking about when we were talking. I asked him about Hutmacher and possibly either coming back or going to the NFL draft, and he brought up Ty Robinson. That could be a guy that leaves, possibly Benhart. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, you have Justin Evans Jenkins is now going to be a starter for the rest of the year. He's a mauler. He'll be a starter in 24. He could have easily been a starter this year, but his position, which he probably is more natural to playing as center, Ben Scott was the veteran guy and won that job. But Ben Scott doesn't have to play center in 2024. Could Ben Scott play tackle? Could Sam Sledge start at a guard? Could Mr. Piper start at a guard? And could Teddy Prohaska be a tackle? All of a sudden, the wheels are in motion, and you're thinking, wow, that offensive line could look a lot different. Or even a Corcoran, slide down and finally play guard. Or do they go and they spend some money on a real deal tackle that they can pursue in the portal, and they bring him in and he's a starter? But with that said, so the current starting offensive line, how would you summarize the regular offensive starting line for Nebraska?
Leaky, inconsistent. I know that's like the tired, lazy thing to describe this offensive line, but inconsistent because, again, you get some good showings out of Bryce Benhart, who started the season out solid. Then, as of late, not as great. Ben Scott has had his moments where he's looked okay, and then other times he hasn't. And nobody has just been sort of riding that wave from start to finish of solid.
Okay, so with that said, I'm going to tell you that you can turn this into a positive, and if Noelle comes back, and he's back for the Maryland game, Nebraska will have their best offensive line out there. So, but the whole wild card in this reconfigured offensive line is Teddy Prohaska. Okay? It's a huge game for him against Purdue. He's played 54 snaps this year. 54. Hadn't played much. A lot of it's between the ears. Okay? But now it's go time because he's going to have to pass block and he's also going to have to run block. And he hopefully will do a lot of run blocking on Saturday with the weather like it is against that Purdue team. But this is a huge game for him. For him, basically, personally, to get his feet wet because he's going to play a lot of snaps. But if I gave you Prohaska, Justin Evans Jenkins, Ben Scott, Lutovsky, who is strong but inconsistent, and then I give you Bryce Benhart. But then in 2 weeks, I give you Noelle in for Lutovsky. Nebraska have the best fivesome, and it's taking out 2 guys that are out for the year with injuries. I think they would be pretty damn close.
I think there's an argument to be made, sure, because Teddy Prohaska, again, being at left tackle, something that we were all wanting to see. And just his size, his ability playing that natural position. Justin Evans Jenkins, again, going back to just how they talked about him in the spring. And a guy that I thought even in the time that he was in there, his grade, from Pro Football Focus wasn't, tremendous, but it also wasn't that bad too. And so you're putting him there with a guy that's already had some experience, and he's seen some snaps this year too. Ben Scott, again, it's very important to have your center right there, and he's healthy from all indications. And then you look at it, we'll go with Nuri Nuili, who, again, kind of like Bryce Benhart, has had probably more good games than bad games.
Yeah, no, that's a huge loss for the next couple of games. Yeah. That's a huge loss for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. Right next to Bryce Benhart, and you're looking at sort of a revamped left side. That's where the weakness has been the left side. So, I mean, maybe I look at it more of, can it be that much worse than what it was? And just to see Teddy Prohaska back in there and Justin Evans Jenkins, who seems to be on the rise as an offensive lineman. And again, this is where I kind of look at, all right, let's see how that development has come along with Donovan Raiola. Yeah, I think there's at least the potential there. It's
the biggest unknown is Teddy, which is might sound crazy to say out loud. The biggest unknown is Teddy. I have no idea what you're going to get. You hope you get the best, and we haven't even come close to, in my opinion, seeing the best of him at Nebraska. But Purdue game is monstrous for him personally, to get, okay, I'm back, I'm playing a lot, I'm comfortable, but also for Nebraska. I think that starting offensive line, if Noelle comes back and he's healthy, I don't know. I think you can turn it into a positive because there's some guys that are gonna be in that 5-some that will be starters next year.
And the other thing is when you hear that type of news yesterday for an offensive line that you're gutted on your left side and then your right side you're going to be without for a couple of weeks, at least at the guard position. I would say most teams would describe that and most fan bases would describe that as disastrous, just awful. How do you recover from that? But again, when you look at the overall performance of this offensive line and the guys that stand to fill in, they've had some experience. The potential we've all known has been there, especially with Teddy Prohaska, but also Justin Evans-Jenkins, who we've seen. Again, it's not as problematic as I think most teams in that situation would be.
Isn't this if you are all out on Dylan Rhule or you're on the fence, isn't it his stretch to go, not so fast,
yeah, absolutely.
my friends?
Yeah. That's why I asked Sam that. I feel like you can look at some younger guys that have now been in 2 years with Donovan Rhule, and you could say, all right, boy, Justin Evans-Jenkins really performed well. And again, go back to where he sort of started as in the spring where he was being talked about to where he's now trending. Are you seeing positive steps forward there development-wise? How he's handling Teddy Prohaska, both physically and mentally. Are you putting him in a position where he is in a good place mentally? Okay, all of that stuff, I think, also is reflective of Donovan Rhule and how he has that group. Even Letofsky and filling into that spot too.
Yeah, he might be a swing guard. I don't know if Letofsky's ever going to be a long season starter for you, but he needs to be better. He can be a swing guard. So when Noelle comes back, there you go. Yeah, I think this can be turned into a positive. Because if this, and give me 2 games with them before Maryland, I'll put the 5 they're going to play the next 2 weeks up against the 5 that have played the previous 7 weeks, and we'll do some comparison. So they're at what are they at? 195 yards per game rushing the ball.
Yes,
is that right?
195.1. Yep, tops in the Big Ten.
Okay. Will that get better, stay the same, or regress? Because I'm probably going to look more at the yards per carry, which is just a shade under 5.
Yeah, 4.9. I think it's getting better because I honestly do think you have to have a more heavy emphasis on running the football too. So given where Purdue we'll just use Purdue as a defense against the run, they're 11th in the Big Ten right now. Okay, they're giving up about 154 yards per game. Michigan State, another team that a little bit better against the run, but collectively as a defense, again, this is where identity-wise, if you're Nebraska and you're trying to run the football, especially with the quarterback run game too, that I would assume there is even more heavy emphasis. And sure, weather can dictate some of that as well. But I just feel like that is the course that Nebraska is going forward, even with a new left side of the offensive line. So I would expect that number to get just a little bit better. Yeah.
We'll do this. We'll do this before the Maryland game. We'll do a little comparison here. And I can't wait to watch Sam Sledge. I mean, Sam Sledge will be one of your starting guards next year.
It's a great name.
That does sound like a.
What's better? I mean, he has a better name than his dad. I mean, Bob Sledge is Sam compared to Bob. Yes,
I know one of the relations, Joe Sledge too. He was a West Side guy.
All right. Brian Christopherson coming up at the top of the hour. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Here's today's Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Husker football picked up a massive win over the weekend against Northwestern, but head coach Matt Rhule says it came at a great cost.
A couple injury updates. We're a pretty beat up team right now. Ethan Piper is done for the year. He'll have knee surgery. Turner Corcoran is done for the year. He'll have foot surgery. Nuri's in surgery right now. Nuri will be out for probably 1 to 2 weeks. So we'll have to have some guys step up. So with that, Billy Kemp will be out multiple weeks with an MCL sprain. Tom will be day by day. So we're not, Tommy Hill's kind of superhuman healing powers. I'm sure Tommy will be back. Probably be at practice tomorrow, but he'll be day to day.
For The Zone, I'm Matt McMaster.
The Husker Max Practice Report, brought to you by Tickets for Less on 1180 and 1620 The Zone.
Attention all Nebraska Huskers football fans. Get ready for an electrifying season of college football with Tickets for Less. Experience the thrill of the game and witness the power of a new era under our exciting new head coach. And here's the best part. Use promo code THEZONE to score incredible savings on your Husker tickets from Tickets for Less. Whether you're cheering from the stands at Memorial or plan to catch a game on the road, Tickets for Less has the seats you need. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Huskers journey. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code THEZONE today.
With over 45 years in business, Thrasher Foundation Repair makes stressful home repairs super easy with precise repair and genuine care. From basement waterproofing to foundation repair, concrete restoration, and crawl space repair, you can count on Thrasher to handle it with ease and expertise. Schedule a free estimate today at gothrasher.com.
Precise repair, genuine care, Thrasher.
Hey everyone, Josh and John here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. Thursday Night Football begins Week 8, and this week it is Bucks and Bills. And right now, you can get a no-sweat same-game parlay for all customers. Bonus bets back even if you do not win, whether it's an anytime touchdown, maybe for one of the quarterbacks. Perhaps you like Diggs to have a good night receiving. Whatever it is, go to FanDuel.com/1620 and get a no-sweat same-game parlay today.
And Josh, the cool thing about FanDuel is you can choose from one of their popular same-game parlays that's already pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app, or build your own no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com/1620. From FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus in President Iowa. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Jimmy, as the resident Astro fan, why people all over Mattress Mac?
They love him, and then they don't know. We heard a commercial listening to Robert Ford the other day on Friday. We were on the road, and there was a commercial that came on. You couldn't understand what he said, and my wife's like, "Who's that?" I believe that's Mattress Mac. She was like, "How can he get away with that?" And you can't understand him. I said, "Because it's Mattress Mac. He can say whatever he wants."
Well, so he had the potential to win $25 million if the Astros would have won the World Series. But there's a viral video out there as he's walking through, it looks like the concourse after last night's game. And he's a guy that everything I've heard, he's very generous in the community.
He was big after the hurricane.
He has a lot of money. I don't know if he stuffs it in the mattress or whatever, but the guy has a lot of money selling mattresses. He has more money than Nebraska Furniture Mart when it comes to selling mattresses. But people were,
7-game series.
But there was somebody that was trash talking him, and like he went back after him. Isn't like Mattress Mac like 96 years old?
Oh yeah, but you don't want any of that. It's fueled on Lone Star and brisket.
Yeah, like, man, you can't be heckling a 96-year-old man.
See, it's an angry city.
So he's got a lot of money. Don't heckle him, rob him.
Yeah. Or ask him to donate and buy the best manager you can.
Felt bad for him. They showed him like he had a seat right next to the bullpen. The Astro players are waving at him.
Yeah, he didn't leave his seats early like the other people behind the plate.
Exactly. But he missed out on $25 million.
That is the best way to describe him. Old angry Texan filled on brisket and Lone Star.
Sounds like home. That's how I grew up. That's what I'm destined to turn into.
Oh, God, it's probably so true.
The Texas Trinity, ice cold Lone Star, or Lone Star Light if you're watching your calories.
Well, Game 6 alone at $43.4 million is what he lost out on in forcing the Game 7. So
if he wants to play 4-quarter pick'em, by all means, get in the mix.
He's the oldest person you've ever trash talked.
Ooh.
I think I trash talked.
I probably trash talked Joe Paterno at one point.
Like to his face?
No. Unfortunately, never to his face. Probably through a TV screen.
I had a moment in an empty locker room with Joe Paterno.
Really?
Yeah. When they were here in, was that 2000? Where were they? They were,
maybe?
01 Notre Dame was here.
Because they had the home and
home. 03.
So
yeah, they had the
was
home
it
and
03?
home.
Okay, yeah, it was 03. Kind of wanted to meet Joe Paterno. And I asked a Penn State staffer, I said, hey, I'd like to meet Coach Paterno.
Oh, he's probably harder to get through than the president.
No.
Really?
They're like, he's back in the locker room. So I knew when the locker rooms were separated and the visiting team was in the North Stadium, just walked back there, and I knew the people that were running the field house, basically, where the visiting locker room was, and just walked back there and walked into an empty locker room. There was nobody around. Everybody was already out on the field, and Joe Paterno was just sitting like on a bench. It was like
collecting his thoughts.
I was like, I walked around the corner and there was Joe Paterno.
You didn't trash talk about you.
No, I went up and I was
you're
like,
on the radio.
Hey, Coach Paterno. I introduced myself and said, hey, I just wanted to meet you and say hello. And, he had that familiar voice. He said hello. I walked right back out.
Hello. I can't do that very well.
Oh. That's my little brush with Joe Paterno.
There was
But I think my grandpa was the oldest I trash talked. And that was probably when I was 8 or 9 because we used to play baseball in the backyard in Jessup, Iowa. And so, when I'd hit a home run, and he probably was grooving me pitches.
Oh,
that's on him though.
So these were like trash talking and flexes. This wasn't like actually.
Did you slam
like
your bat down and just admire
He was
it too?
probably Grandpa Demuth was grooving pitches to me. That's on him though. Man, you got to be better on the mound, Grandpa. Rest in peace.
You got to be high and inside on you.
But he was throwing me like middle, and I was crushing him. Wiffle ball in the backyard. I was knocking him into the tomato plants, and then I would before bat flips were a big deal. I'd bat flip, and I'd do the play-by-play. Probably got angry. Brushed me back.
You should have.
What if I would have charged my grandpa?
Especially back then.
I got Grandpa 7.5.
Dude, he was a war veteran, man.
Oh yeah,
he
then
would
14.
Kick my butt.
Yeah.
Back then, you're not showing up anybody.
I think he would be the oldest that I trash talked.
There was a.
It was okay. First of all, it was an Astros fan that was trash talking Mattress Mac.
It appears.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty.
Grumpy.
He had security around him, and he, was very recognizable.
Yeah, most of Houston would come to Mac's defense because he's beloved in that town.
There was a assistant baseball coach for Millard West. I won't name his name. He was older, and this was when I was younger. And we got into just the teams themselves got into a little dust up, and he wasn't doing a very good job of trying to diffuse the situation. So
Pedro and Don Zimmer.
Yeah, I didn't throw him down like that, but I did get a little huffy with him. So trash talk, or at least some pointed words. Yeah,
you sound like 7-on-7 football this summer in this town. Players trash talking other coaches. Paul in the stream, he's absolutely right. Mattress Mac is a rock star, generous and loved. He is. He does. There are so many stories of things he does for the community, and he loves his local teams. But he loves Jimmy. Is the Astros the number one team?
I would think so.
I hear that's the team I hear the most on that he'll make bets or he supports.
The Astros in general in Houston, and maybe it's debatable for anyone down there. I think not just because of the run they're on, but
Enos Cabell, Jose Cruz, Bob Watson.
Yeah.
Is this by the way, is his money? I mean, there's got to be some like family ties. There has to be some oil money connected to outside of just the mattress franchise.
I mean, I haven't really dug into Mac's
those
total
are-
wealth, but
those are
sure, if you want to add to the lore,
there's some heavy,
the black gold and
heavy spending there. I mean, maybe the mattress business is good, but good Lord.
he should have bought the Oilers. They'd still be there today.
Ooh, gonna be a rough weekend for you, because not only the Astros get beat last night, this is the weekend that the Titans wear the Oiler uniforms.
That's right.
Sweet though.
They
Those
are.
uniforms are just sweet.
Yeah. Just like they should have called the Texans the Oilers, but Bud Adams wouldn't give up the name.
I got excited when they saw the creamsicle ones for Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago too.
So did the Lions fans because their team beat them.
That's true. Reminded me of the old NFC Central.
The NFC Norris division.
The NFC, the black and blue NFC Central. When Tampa Bay somehow was in that division, which made zero sense whatsoever.
Hey, they won it in 79.
That was when I was born.
Nice.
A couple of people asking about Sam Sledge. He traveled the first two games. I think he was on the travel roster to Minnesota and Colorado. They had him as a blocking extra lineman, quote unquote, a tight end. But now he will see snaps so that they can still preserve his red shirt. It is, I don't recall ever, maybe this is a Rhule player personnel NFL thing. I don't recall previous coaches here. They were aware of, we don't want to play you more than 4 so you can redshirt. This much discussion like this staff has.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows to a T how many games he's got left. Like he knows he's got 3 more games with Ives. He knows he's got,
Talk about Jaden Doss.
if you make it through this weekend, then I got Gatula and I got Sledge for the rest of the regular season. I don't recall any coach that openly does the math like Rhule does. I mean, good on him. You don't want to blow a red shirt on a kid. I think somebody should ask about Jeff Sims. Go, hey, coach, do you know that Sims has one more game and he can still redshirt?
That bowl game doesn't count.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah, because I know he brought up Jaden Doss with what he has remaining, but said that most likely that will, since he's going to, quote, play, that most likely he would exceed that number. But also, I amidst all of the injury issues, that he continues to still put that top of mind. And he said that. He said, the players and their future is the most important thing. So if they still have that chance to preserve it, they will.
Van Poppel. So Van Poppel can play one more game. Well, what a luxury it would be to get him on the field and then still be able to have him be a redshirt freshman next year and then use him for the bowl game.
It's kind of crazy to think too with, when he was playing, and that's the beauty of that defensive front though, is you're able to rotate in so many guys and you just do not see them miss a beat. And so being able to say, all right, Riley Van Poppel, when we've seen him play, who's had an impact, and we remember what he looked like in the Michigan game where he wasn't getting pushed around or anything, and to know that he could still preserve a red shirt, yet the kind of experience that he's getting and having those contributions, like there's so many success stories to that defense, but right there's one of them where you got a guy that you would think just kind of watching him in the times that he's been out there, that he's a guy, oh yeah, he's going to burn through his red shirt, but he doesn't. I mean, there's a good shot that he won't. And so again, that development, being able to use that many guys, a lot of the youth of that defense, it's like, I think it's the success story for this defense.
All right, Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. He'll join us after the top of the hour on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a bit of a delay eastbound along I-80 from 84th to 72nd, and northbound along the JFK, there's going to be some delay from Chandler Road all the way to 25th and Q Street, and on Dodge, be prepared for significant delays from 94th all the way to 75th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason number 23 to get your Fernando's fix during football season.
Go Big Taco!
For tailgates, watch parties, or just an ordinary Saturday, get your Fernando's fix. FernandosOmaha.com.
Our Cox mobile plans are like a band. The more people you add, the better it sounds. So, add more lines to save more. Pay as low as $30 per line when you add 4 or more gig unlimited lines. It's easy. I like the sound of that. Visit cox.com/mobile. 4 lines required for $30 per line price. Max of 5 lines. Prices exclude taxes, device activation, and other fees and charges, which are subject to change. Cox postpaid internet required. Other restrictions apply.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Union Omaha. Once again, a regular season champ. The first team to do it twice in USL League One. They enter the postseason on a 14-match winning streak, and they will be playing again on Saturday, October 28th at 4:30. You can buy tickets right now at unionomaha.com. Do not miss out on this great opportunity as they return home to Warner Park on Saturday the 28th. Buy the tickets at unionomaha.com.
Sure, you could go elsewhere for your health and wellness products, or better yet, why not just come to 42 Degrees? Those other places don't even come close to the wide variety and premium disposable e-juice, CBD, Delta, Kratom, glass pipes, vaporizers, and other great products. With the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff who will find the right products just for you. If you're looking for a one-stop shopping experience, look no further. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Creighton Sports Update.
Single game tickets for the 2023-24 Creighton women's basketball season are on sale now. Don't miss your chance to catch the nationally ranked Blue Jays at DJ Sokol Arena for 14 exciting home games this season, with the first one coming up on Monday, October 30th at 6 p.m. Purchase today by visiting gocreighton.com/buy. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, the Big Ten has announced viewership for this weekend. Nebraska Northwestern football, 560,000 viewers. Nebraska-Wisconsin volleyball, 612,000 viewers. There are a lot of viewers right now on 1620 The Zone TV and a lot of listeners to our next segment with Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. That's probably not surprising, right?
I don't know if it's surprising, but that tells you something about just the impact that volleyball program, Nebraska volleyball's had, I think, not just on this state, but I think some of the stuff they've done has pushed others in the league. Obviously, Wisconsin's had a lot of success, but with the filling up the stadium like they did, I think it's made other programs think differently, and I think it's made people outside of our state even pay a little bit more attention, and I think that you see some of that there. So I think that's pretty cool.
If you kind of look at what the overall impression of this Nebraska football team is right now, just from a national level. When it started out with Matt Rhule, and I think there was always intrigue, just the way that the season has gone and just kind of sitting there, a little bit above 500. Do you think that that intrigue from a national standpoint is remotely present with how Nebraska is going forward?
I not really right now. No, I don't see Nebraska come up hardly at all outside of our bubble, and that's okay. This is a team that sort of has to put up the building without everybody paying attention, and then you're hoping that a year or so from now, people are like, "Oh, that's up there to taking up the skyline a little bit now, isn't it?" I mean, that's the sort of thing you're working on. But yeah, I think that's a good observation, Nick. I don't notice, like Nebraska's pursuit of a bowl game really being a magnet toward any of the people who are, reporters or whatever that aren't covering Husker football. But that's okay if they get to a bowl game. They're going to be one of those teams where I think when people do their drive-by analysis, they would stop by, and we kind of talked about this last week, and say, man, okay, they did have a lot of injuries, didn't they, when I kind of wasn't paying attention, and they still got to that point, and not a bad building block. And I think some people will notice, but you just got to kind of work, a little bit in silence right now. Not around here, but around everywhere else like that.
Hey, so let me present the scenario to you, BC. First year head coach, a funky defense is being implemented. All new coaches are dealing with the defense for the first time. The talent level is not even in the middle of the pack of the Big Ten. Then you begin the year and you start 0-2. You have issues on offense. You've changed your quarterback. Now you have injuries on offense. But with 5 games to go, you still have the opportunity to go to a bowl game by winning 2 of those 5. What does that say about this season?
I mean, they're where they need to be right now as far as being on schedule. A lot of people, I think, would have said they might be about 4-3, despite the fact that all those things happened that you mentioned. And you have to give some credit there. I think last week we were even talking about how, okay, what would have you said, before the year if they got to 6-6, and that was sort of the mark. And that would have just sort of been the bar I would have hoped they would get over, because as hard as Nebraska has made it to get to a bowl in the Frost era, I don't think it should be that impossible for a team with Nebraska's resources to climb to 6 wins most seasons. So that was sort of my basic goal for this team. But I'll repeat, because it bears it, especially after the news we got yesterday. If you had told me, okay, the quarterback's going to shift, you're going to lose Gabe Ervin, you're going to lose Ramir Johnson, you're going to lose basically 4 wide receivers at this point, we're talking, with Kemp out for a few weeks, if you consider Xavier Betts leaving the team, and then Garcia Castaneda, Marcus Washington, and now I'll tell you what, guys, the offensive line rundown yesterday with the injuries, that one, and the day he came in on a Monday, and mentioned the running backs. I've been covering this a while. I've never been at 2 press conferences where one group got nailed so much where there's like a 10-second pause almost in the room, like, what? All those guys are out. And to have that happen twice in one season, when I don't recall that ever happening quite like that before, to one position group in 1 week covering this team for the 15, 20 years, whatever it's been, they're going through some stuff over there that we haven't normally seen, is the point of all that. So if you can get those extra practices, despite all that, I would consider that a pretty nice coaching job and getting the job done.
Well, and what we've seen from this coaching staff to this point, and you mentioned the running back that Monday where we heard about not only Gabe Ervin, but Ramir Johnson as well, and just everything that they've endured, and knowing what this team is kind of offensively right now to try to help win games while that defense is putting them in position. this would probably devastate most offenses, I think, with that rash of injuries. Do you feel like this is at that point where it's devastating for Nebraska, or do you think there still is reason to believe that despite all that they can still get to 6 wins?
I think there's reason to believe because I think the schedule allows it the opportunity, and I think the defense does. I think this Nebraska defense right now is playing at such a confident level and has really embraced the idea, sort of like Rhule told him. I think he said this in the post game Saturday, where his message was, when you're up 1 point at halftime, you have to have that mentality. Just being the defense, the game's over. Like, we got this. Like, the score could be 7-6 or whatever at halftime, but you're thinking like, all right, that's all we need. You know, you become that kind of group where you not only are up for that challenge, but you sort of enjoy those challenges. And I feel like they're starting to work their way toward that, which always gives you a shot, you know. Now, the next step for them, for that defense to sort of carry the day is, can they become that group? We talk about this all the time too, but that they did get a takeaway, but can they be like a group that gets 2 or 3 takeaways? And one of them's like a pick six, or somebody breaks through on one of those sacks and it's a forced fumble and a big man picks it up and rumbles 40 yards for a touchdown, you know, and the place is going crazy. You might need something like that in a couple of these games moving forward to sort of push it over the edge. But that's why I give them a chance to get it done. The key for the offense, I think, is first off, just they got to get these unforced errors out of the way to give himself a fighting shot. I mean, you got to stop just like laying the ball on the ground and dropping snaps, and it's 2nd and 15. I mean, there's already enough warts where it's difficult to work around to begin with. And then you add that into the level of difficulty, it becomes really hard. So even with the new guys on the O-line, if they could clean up that area and just play sounder football and not be behind the chains to that degree so much, I think that would give them a shot, even without the lack of personnel that we expected would be there in August.
Hey, doesn't it seem like, and I'm absolutely with you about putting the ball on the carpet or putting the ball in the hands of somebody else, but in terms of fumbling, doesn't it seem like Nebraska is on this stretch of like some really good luck with fumbles?
Yeah, they have been. I mean, I don't know if Northwestern would have done anything with it, but I mean, there were 3 times the ball was on the ground in the first 35 minutes. There was the game in non-con, I can't remember against who, might have been Louisiana Tech, where it was kind of a dogfight and Tommy Hill fumbles and there's like 4 guys around it. Somehow he gets on it. They've had moments where it's like, how did that work out for them? And Colorado did on an occasion or two, and it got them. So that's why you got to stop having that even show up in the stat sheet. You know, there's always that fumbles and then fumbles lost category. Eventually, the law of averages start to catch up with you there. So better to not tempt fate with that anymore. The problem with some of those fumbles, Gary, is they're just like, you know, drop snaps and, you know, stuff where you feel like the guy misexchange like they had at Illinois, and it's stuff that just shouldn't be happening. Where you know you're climbing a mountain, and then it's like you forgot your pickaxe or whatever you used to climb a mountain. I don't know, but when you do that stuff, it just makes it that much harder.
Going back to injuries, BC, and it's something that Matt Rhule talked about when asked about Nick Henrich, I thought was interesting too, where I guess the good news is you have the flexibility to kind of make it a coach's decisions to really limit any type of game reps for Nick Henrich so you can have him as strong in the back half. But when you've kind of seen Rhule handle a lot of players that are sort of dinged up, maybe they're available, but if you can use them as little as possible, they will. What have you kind of taken away from Rhule just from that aspect?
Well, there's a confidence that they've got 20 to 25 guys on defense, and most position groups have it loaded up enough that you can do that sort of thing. You know, I think there's been years past where we wouldn't have probably had that view. He pointed out that he doesn't notice like, oh, Ty Robinson's not on the field right now or something like that, you know, and I'm very much the same way. It's that's the ultimate compliment is when all off season, I was speaking about the D line, and I was like, yeah, I like their first, 3 or 4 guys, but what about like guys 6 through 8? Like what are they going to be good enough to give you like 8 snaps or whatever it takes? And they've really erased that question from the air. So you got to give a lot of credit there. And Nick has played really well too.
Yeah.
By the way, against Illinois, I mean that was one of the best games of his career. So to have that confidence in other guys says something. One of the things I like about this defense right now, Kai Bayer is a good example to use. I do the snap counts every day after, and he'll have games where he plays like 41 snaps, where he's like out there all the time, and then he'll have a game or two where it's like 19 snaps or something like that. And it's not because Kai Bayer became a worse player that practice week or something like that. It's just like they do have all these guys they feel like I think fit certain niches, and there's certain things they excel at. And when those down and distances and those moments arrive in games, they're out there, and then there's somebody else that can do it in other spots. And so that's become a very effective formula that I think a lot of us were skeptical, not of Tony White, but just like, are they really going to rotate as much as they say they are? And sure enough, they have. And it's not just rotating for rotating's sake, which is kind of nice.
Brian Christopherson, 24/7 joining us. All right, prepare yourself. I'm going to take you back to Bill Callahan. And I do because I remember when Callahan got here, coming from the NFL, he was really surprised there was no communication in the helmet. And he was like a big advocate for it. And he would talk about how much of a benefit it would be for quarterback development and coaching development, calling plays, quarterbacks, hearing the play and then reciting it and then running the play. That was 20 years ago. This is coming up again on the heels of the Michigan thing, and maybe this is the thing that puts it over the top. But listening to Rhule talk about coming from the NFL where he has that technology, does it appear to you that in college, the helmets and the radios in the helmets is more difficult than it would seem to be in getting that implemented?
Yeah, you know what? I don't get completely why people are standing in the way of it. I don't understand the reasoning why it wouldn't happen. So someone would have to present to me 2 to 3 really good reasons that I have not heard or I guess don't know about, because I haven't, I'll be honest, I haven't thought about it a ton. But when Rhule was speaking on it, as he would be a pretty persuasive attorney, I think, like in his closing statement. We also Brunson mentioned he'd be really good if he was a doctor who had to deliver bad news.
That is spot on.
Yeah,
That's spot on.
So just as a gift for like, okay, I'm presenting this point, and you're sort of like sitting up, you're like, yeah, why wouldn't they do that? You're kind of thinking along with it. So I would be with him on that. That I don't see why you can't get that done. He was even saying, like, you look at high schools, and there's a lot more technology on the sideline than there is in college. So what's the give here? And so it would make sense. Plus, I would love to see like Brandon Carberg do that thing Kirk Cousins always does, where it's like he puts his helmet to his like ears because he's trying to like press I think the speakers into his ears, but it always looks like he's just a madman who's kind of losing control. So I would enjoy that visual that goes with it as well.
Speaking of Heinrich Harburg, I think we could say maybe a bit of a step back, but was it more of is it more of an understandable step back, or was there some concern with what you saw from him coming off the bye week against Northwestern?
I didn't think he took a step forward necessarily, and that so you were kind of hoping like after the week off, it was one of those games where a thing or two just looked a little better, and it actually probably was a little worse in some cases, and it could have just been a bad day at the office. I think the first pass really set the tone and had him disjointed for like the first few series because you're probably think all week on your script like we're going to come out, we're going to be aggressive, this is the play, it's going to be there, and it was there. It wasn't just Fedoni who was there. Borkercher was running so wide open down the sideline. If he had seen him, he could have thrown that ball behind him by 5 yards, made him wait on it, and he could have caught it, regrouped himself, and still ran for a touchdown, I think. So that play, like we can say, oh, just run the ball there or whatever. It wasn't the hardest play to make, and the opportunity was there to really gash your opponent on the first play when they're not expecting it. But I think after it happened and you miss it, you know you missed the golden opportunity. You're trying to shake that off a little bit. And he might be in that phase, as Rhule was talking about the other day, too, where you are actually starting to understand stuff more because you've started some games. So it actually, you're trying to process it a little more because you do instead of just playing off instinct, you're like kind of overthinking it a little bit, and so then sometimes you're questioning yourself a little probably within the play. So I just hope, this week for him and this offense, if he could be the guy he was, this is a strange game to bring up, but Michigan, like he actually throwing the ball against Michigan for the first 3 quarters was the best I've seen him. I think at one point he was 10 of 12, and he was making some sharp, confident throws against that defense. And I think if he can bring that sort of performance forward with him, they can be all right. But it's just a tough deal right now because some of it's Harburg, some of it's probably receivers who are still figuring out exactly where to go. But I would say this, Nick, I think Malachi Coleman, he's been open probably more than he's got the ball too. So there's an encouraging part to that. You'd say, like, what about these young receivers? I think Coleman's found some space at times. It just hasn't found him. So there's a good part to that too. That Coleman is, can be that guy maybe.
Hey, we'll get you out of this. I'm not going to say it's a winnable game because that has come back to burn somebody in this Nebraska-Purdue series is played. But looking at this Purdue team that's coming off a bye that blew out Illinois, stubbed their toe against Iowa, got blown out by Ohio State. What do you think happens on Saturday?
I think it's a game that's decided by 3 to 4 points and one turnover here, one turnover there. And so the thing that concerns you is Nebraska has been bad at the latter. And so this has to be a game where you flip that. And that does happen some weeks where you'll go in and you'll say, oh, this team's, eighth in the country in third down offense. This team's 116th in third down defense. You're like, what a mismatch. And then it completely gets turned on its head. So Nebraska needs to have that game where you're up 3-1 in the turnovers or something like that, and you have that one play on defense or special teams that is a just complete game changer. The defense is getting better at it, but I'm talking about just doing it yourself, taking it to the house type of thing. So they don't necessarily need that to beat Purdue, but I think those are the type of plays when you get down to these final games that they're going to be needed to like out Iowa, sort of, when you get there and do that again this week. So I think it's going to be a bit of a slog like they all are, but they also know, Nebraska knows the formula they want to be right now. They're not trying to win style points. And so they just have to have patience on the offense and know that, take care of that football first and foremost. And you got to start winning the territorial battle a little bit more than they have been because this defense can do a lot with that.
I agree. Absolutely. BC, thank you for your time. Great stuff. We'll see you this weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Northwestern's offensive line was porous. Purdue's, they have trouble keeping Hudson Card upright. So I don't know if you want to call this a winnable matchup or not. You think Nebraska, after winning, needs to reset and focus on Purdue?
It's the opportunity. The opportunity. Can't go any further than that, but it's a great opportunity. Winnable games.
Oh no, I was going off the Frost stuff he said.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but I mean, I still think that with their offensive line situation too, and if they got Musa who was out, you already have your starting right tackle who will be out. So coming off,
don't they have a group of 5 offensive line? Like transfer guys?
Yeah, there are some transfer dudes. Yes, I believe that is the case. But another number 1 right tackle, he's been out for.
Now they give up 17. They've given up 17 sacks in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
They give up at least 9 pressures a game, and Card doesn't have a lot of time to throw. Now, when he does have time to throw,
yep.
I agree with BC. I think the line is right in this game, and it's 3.5. I think the line is right on, and the weather will be impacting the game as well.
See if that over under. Sitting at 41.
Talking low to mid 40s, wind, little rain. Big 8 weather.
Don't worry about the rain. Don't worry about the snow.
The wind.
The wind.
Yep.
The autumn wind is a raider.
And the wind
There's a
comes
lot of
whipping
conversation
down
on
the
that yesterday.
plains.
A lot of conversation.
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
Too much. That kind of and then break up the monotony of injuries.
Yeah.
But by the end of the press conference, too, him to announce another injury. Oh, I forgot to tell you that one of our equipment guys got hit in the head today in practice, and he's going to be out for the weekend because he's in concussion protocol.
They had the equipment manager's game, and he didn't come through that one well. So we're gonna press forward though with what we've got. He did. I mean, that one point as he's announcing those, he had to kind of look at Keith Mann like, "Am I missing anybody?" Like that's when you know it's been a lot. Like when you're rattling them
when
off,
you have
and you're
when you have injuries where you're like, man, I didn't know that Noelle got hurt. Now I saw Corcoran; he was limping in the fourth quarter, but I didn't think it was a severe enough injury that you'd have to have surgery like right away and you'd be out for the year. So there's no rhyme or reason for them, but they need to look into: is it the adjustment from how they went about their business last year to how they go about their business this year? Is there a turf grass thing? Is there why in the hell was he playing that late in the game to even give that? Or was it just an odd circumstance? It was a football play that it was, full on contact, or a Northwestern person down there giving the business to one of your offensive linemen?
And I know Amy had asked that question yesterday if there was anything kind of prevailing with all of those, and it seems like not all of them, as you mentioned, are created equal, and that's kind of the tough part about it. Is I'm sure at some point you get to have time to go back and kind of evaluate everything that happened. If there is something that you can link the majority of the injuries to, you're always going to have. I mean, it's football. You're always going to have some of those flukish things that just happens in a grown man sport like that. But it's you can tell Matt Rhule he's dejected by the fact that has happened. But as we said before, he's not making excuses about it. And I think that they understand, and he even mentioned it. Like last year, they had to play, or not last year, when he was at Baylor, they had to play a lot of young guys, and it wasn't because of injuries. It was because you had older guys not buying in. Now it's a situation where you have guys that are getting hurt, and you're forced to play younger guys. Either way, this is what we were probably from day one excited the most about Matt Rhule, is his ability and his track record of being able to develop guys and get young guys in early to experience those live game reps. And whether it happens because you have an older group that's not buying in, or a group that's just getting banged up game in, game out, I think he's very well equipped to kind of roll with those punches.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We'll get some tweets and some emails throughout the show this morning. Also, if you have some millions of dollars sitting around, we might have a property for you to purchase right here in the Big O. We'll tell you about that when we come back. This morning's with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
So let me tell you a couple of the things that happened to Memorial Stadium as they were building it. Rain plagued the project. At one point, there were 6 feet of water inside the stadium. 2 months before the stadium was set to open, a tornado destroyed some of the wooden forms used to pour sections of the concrete stands.
Material was picked up and moved, and in some places, the wind dipped down below the surface of the ground and picked up heavy material and tossed it about like eggshells.
I like when they compare stuff to stuff.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch, from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Increasing clouds Tuesday, still warm and breezy, however, with a high of 78 in Omaha. Southerly winds possible up to 30 miles an hour. A 30% chance of showers and storms later this evening and tonight. Staying mostly cloudy with a low of 59. More shower and storms possible tomorrow morning and again for your Wednesday evening. Staying breezy, a high tomorrow of 74 with gusts up to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Join us for the Hoodies for Hope clothing drive in support of the Salvation Army Omaha Winter Night Watch program. From now through October 25th, we're looking for donations of hoodie sweatshirts or other winter clothing items that we'll hand out this coming winter season to those experiencing homelessness. You can drop off new, unworn sweatshirts and other winter items at 2 convenient locations in town or donate online. Just go to salarmyomaha.org for all the details. That's salarmyomaha.org. Thank you for your support of the Hoodies for Hope clothing drive.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Nacho's Mexican Grill invites you to try its exquisite food, starting with its famous grilled chicken, slowly cooked over mesquite charcoal. Serve the way you like. Try it with different sauces, like mango habanero or the original flavor. This comes with 2 side dishes, like beans, rice, salad, and more. We have something for the steak lovers, too. Ask for the soft and juicy ribeye. Visit us at 5007 Grover Street and call to place your orders at 402-913-8146. 402-913-8146. Nacho's Mexican Grill.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 16.
I think everybody needs a song.
Yes, they don't make them like this
Like
anymore.
the Creed is with Texas, the Rangers, the Phillies have a song, the Oilers had a song. Everybody needs a song.
Used to rock the dome.
I think
House of Pain.
Earl Campbell, Bum Phillips, Dan Pastorini, Warren
Slide.
Moon.
There are some really
Prettiest
bad,
Eight Ball.
like Skull Vikings, Bear Down, whatever the Lions one is called. I think Green Bay, they just have Bang the Drum on the touchdowns. But there's some really bad ones, like really old, like, huh? Like after every Chicago Bear touchdown, you have to hear Bear Down. It's not good.
I like the old song.
Oh, I think they're just so,
Fly
so
Eagles Fly.
cheesy. Yeah, Fly
Jalen
Eagles
Hurts knows
Fly.
the words.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
They're not good. They're not good. I have no problem saying that about the Chicago Bears. It's not good. Bear Down is not good. Skull Vikings is not good.
See, this song harkens
This
back
one's-
to a simpler time.
This is funny.
10-minute ticker.
So would they
Don
play
Ricky.
would they play this after touchdowns?
This harkens back to I should be in a German beer hall.
Yes.
Drinking out of a stein
Right.
and eating sausage.
Absolutely. This is very Oktoberfest.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it really is. Anytime you can get the polka involved, yeah,
Hey, Packers tailgates, they know how to get down.
You got a banger.
And so there are more details from the Nebraska-Wisconsin volleyball match on Saturday night. It is the most watched regular season volleyball broadcast ever. 612,000 viewers. We've already told you that it eclipsed Nebraska Northwestern football that had 560,000. The volleyball broadcasts on BTN, a 13% increase this year, are averaging 142,000 viewers.
Nice.
I would be curious to go, because I'm a nerd here, to go inside of the numbers of how many people, how much of an audience did they share? Like, what did they go? That volleyball match went 3+ hours.
Yeah.
So how long, like when they handed off the audience, because they went straight to it, right?
Yeah, they went straight to it, and then it was.
So how many people were watching football that just continued on into volleyball? I mean, that's an enormous for volleyball. The football is. I mean, Penn State, Ohio State did 9+ million this weekend. Nebraska Northwestern football probably did what you expect on BTN, but that volleyball number is giganormous. A new word I just made up.
I like that, giganormous.
Eclipsed Nebraska Wisconsin on BTN back in 2022 on the greatest day of the entire calendar year, November 25th. They had 587,000.
Oh, is that your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
And Nebraska and Wisconsin played, and I watched, and it was not fun. 587,000. So
That cake in the box.
They gained 25,000 viewers.
Yeah, I think you even cut in probably a good, at least for the time window there, you probably cut into a good chunk of the Big Ten, like the post game, what is it? What's the Big Ten post game like highlight show? Like their version of Sports Center.
Big Ten post game.
Whatever it is. For maybe some football audiences that wanted to catch their highlights, you were probably seeing set 4 at that point.
Did you guys know that the BTN tailgate was in Lincoln?
Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw pictures and saw like Tommy Frazier and like other guys, showing out for that thing. Yeah, I had there was like zero promotion for that.
To come out for.
I don't remember anybody like actually advertising that was going to be even a thing.
No, unless they're doing it down by the rail yard. I don't know that show gets much attention. Do people show up for that? The rail yard they have. But they were right where you can drink on campus there in front of the Union.
The pictures, it looked like there were a lot of people there. Like seeing Mike Hall interviewing like Tommy Frazier and stuff. It looked like there were people there. It was, but again, yeah, I was.
Like, that's also where now that's where all the fraternity and sororities have their tents, so you can drink there.
Oh yeah,
mom jeans galore.
Because like the bar stool setup, that was
the thing now.
Very well attended.
Mom jeans on sorority girls?
Oh yeah, that's like a thing now. All the young people are wearing the mom jeans. I don't know who started this trend, but
that's true. There's a lot of mom jeans out there.
I thought it was just the boots, the high boots.
Well, that one's really come quite a bit this year because I've seen a lot of boots in Lawrence.
Or these certain kind of rompers. Just don't need to describe them that way because I think that's unfair. The whole bag rompers that we heard about earlier. But mom jeans. That's I would say the majority of like the college female students that I've seen at events are probably rocking those more so than like your traditional, just normal waist.
All right, I'll have to
tight
look.
jeans.
I know the boots are back, like the big high boots.
Not the boots with the fur, but yeah.
When I was watching Rush going on, when I was down there in Lincoln at the fraternity house, a lot of young co-eds were wearing the boots.
Did they
You said Rush, and my mind went somewhere else. I was like, "Yeah, give me some Tom Sawyer."
Oh yeah, for a moment there, I did think like, "Well, you got to see Rush play," but then I realized you were talking about fraternity and sorority Rush week or month, whatever it is.
It's crazy. There's a lot of selfies are taken. That was my observation.
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to make sure I don't get a parking ticket in front of FISI, and I'm watching lots of selfies being taken.
You won't graduate.
Oh, Courtney,
and a lot of like chants and cheers and.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. The chants. Some have to stay a little bit more underground because they can be a bit vulgar and offensive.
Kids do like their bad words.
Does your he's in Kaisai, right? You said
FISI.
FISI. Does he have a secret handshake? Should ask him.
I just think at this
he doesn't have to give it to you. He doesn't show it to you.
I just think at this point, we're just lucky if he makes it from classroom to classroom. That's all we're hoping for.
That's how you do it.
And also doesn't get it caught up in the industry that is huge on college campuses,
Oh,
and that is fake IDs.
Yeah. We had
I had so many side hustles in college, but none of them were ever a fake ID. But man, they've got, I mean, I know of one that is down where I live in this city on the edge of a campus. They got a major, like somebody's got like in their dorm room.
High quality.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be 6'5" and 220 and you want to be from Alaska and you want to play hockey?
Be from Hawaii?
You are fine. Yeah, no, you can't do McLovin.
You can't do McLovin.
Because
Yeah.
McLovin's a dead giveaway.
Yeah, it is.
So you've got to be like
Nick Papa
John
Giorgio.
from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Or you can be like Kurt.
Chuckers.
You can be Kurt from Huron, South Dakota.
Daryl from Spring, Texas.
When they had
There
the
was a-
old IDs, and you guys remember these. Well, Jimmy, did you guys have cards even like back when you were like getting your driver's license, like what we have now, like cards as opposed to like a sleeve, like a laminate?
We had driver's licenses.
Were they
that are
like were
pictures
they
and
like
everything.
were they like laminated?
Yeah.
Or were they like cards?
No, it was a
Okay.
regular.
So the thing,
That's
if
how
you
we
had
rolled
it,
down
and a buddy of mine in college had this, and I still to this day don't know where he got his hands on them, but he had the hologram sleeves. So if you get the hologram sleeves, that was you
Oh
stuck
no, that
the ID
happened
card.
right after.
That thing was golden because apparently that was the word that's bouncers. If they were looking at an ID, they didn't necessarily even they would look at the birthday. The next thing is they would kind of hold it like that to make sure the hologram showed off. And a fake ID, most of the fake IDs didn't have the hologram sleeve, so that was a dead giveaway that this isn't real. But if you had the hologram sleeve, ooh, he was making money hand over
I
fist.
don't know, this kid at UNO, man's making a lot of money.
Good on him.
Like,
Entrepreneur.
he's like doing really, really well. Like, good on you, man. I hope you're a business major.
Yeah.
Make a little money and you invest it.
Mhm.
But he's
Students have needs, and you're catering to those needs.
They do. And then when you have a fake and then you turn 21, it's just kind of a letdown.
It is.
Or you mess up, and when you turn 21, you forget to give them your right
Yep.
ID.
You get busted at 21. Like, "Well, actually, wait a minute. No, I really am.
No, my name is Gary. My name is not Charles. Okay.
Mr. Hansen.
All right.
Charles Hansen.
All right. When we come back, I think I have found my favorite football coach in the West. I think I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Matter of fact, I'm pretty certain that I like him a lot, but the internet, especially here, does not like him. I'll tell you who that is when we come back and put a wrap on this show of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Sure, you could go elsewhere for your health and wellness products, or better yet, why not just come to 42 Degrees? Those other places don't even come close to the wide variety and premium disposable e-juice, CBD, Delta, Kratom, glass pipes, vaporizers, and other great products. With the friendliest, most knowledgeable, and professional staff who will find the right products just for you. If you're looking for a one-stop shopping experience, look no further. 42 Degrees. By your mom's house.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hi, everybody. Kent Pavelka here with why I chose Everlevel Concrete Repair for my driveway. They do it all. They fix cracks, lift sunken slabs, protect the finished product from deterioration, and all at a fraction of the price of replacement. It's not a Band-Aid like other repair methods. Everlevel's products are designed to last, which is why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Better yet, it all comes with a transferable warranty. Protect your concrete before winter. Call Everlevel today for your free inspection. Everlevel, they make your driveway Everlevel.
The 13th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are coming to town to take on your undefeated and 22nd ranked Omaha Mavericks hockey team on October 27th and 28th at Baxter Arena. You do not want to miss this top 25 matchup. Get your tickets now by calling the box office at 402-554 Mavs or by going to omavs.com/ticks. And basketball season is upon us. Get your men's and women's season tickets by calling 402-554-MAVs.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
It's another home game for Nebraska football. That means Unauthorized Big Bird Breakfast is on the road. Join me, Gary Sharp, along with Nick Handley from Sharp and Handley in the morning this Friday. Each home game Friday, we're there. And this year, our new home is Hy-Vee. We'll be on the road at various Hy-Vees each home game Friday, breaking down all the big stories and each Husker game.
This week, join us at the Shadow Lake 73rd and Papillion location. Hy-Vee featuring a breakfast buffet just for our show. One trip for $12 or all you can eat for $15. Every home game with Sharp and Handley at Hy-Vee on 1620 The Zone.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
Since 1972, family-owned and locally roasted Host Coffee Service has been roasting the finest coffee for businesses and restaurants. If you're ready to change to a better coffee provider, it's time for Host Coffee.
Omaha's best coffee since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Is this a Mom Jean song?
Oh, totally.
Hell yeah.
All right, Terry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox about mom jeans. It's funny. The teens are wearing mom jeans and the moms are dressing like teens. Lincoln Saturday saw a lot of 30 and 40-something females dressed like they were still in college. I didn't know what to think about that.
Why that kid hit on that
Let
lady.
it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm married. And then, yeah, I'm probably out of your league. Well, how old are you? 28. Well, what are you doing in here?
Not a good save.
The St. Arthur's kid.
Yeah. So yesterday, this whole year of keeping receipts and making it personal, and Jim Harbaugh cheating. You can rank them however you like. So Ryan Walters, who was the head coach at Purdue, young guy, was defensive coordinator at Illinois, up and comer.
I wonder if this is where you're going.
Nebraska was bound to face him this year because he was a guy that was heavily mentioned for the Colorado job. But at the time, he's going, man, you guys are 1-11, and I got this job in the Big Ten as a defensive coordinator. I'm only 36 years old. I'm good. Champaign over Boulder in this case. Yeah, I'm good, even though he could have gone back home. So he's a smart guy. He might be the guy that, if they don't promote their OC and Ryan Walters has success at Purdue, maybe Colorado comes calling. So yesterday, he was doing his weekly media availability, and he talked about his connection to Nebraska, and he is getting crucified on Husker Twitter. Now, I think I love this guy. I'm a Ryan Walters fan. I mean, look at the NFL dudes he had last year. They really coordinated that defense well. And look at Illinois since Ryan Walters has left. Now, he's got a big challenge in his hand in West Lafayette. But if you don't know the story, so he is from Boulder, and he played at Colorado. So he's a Colorado guy. His last college game that prevented him from going to a bowl game was the Henry field goal and the Sioux stump.
Yep.
That was 2008. We don't have enough compassion not compassion, but passion in college football. Okay, for past history. Like if you grew up playing for one team, all of a sudden you're coaching somewhere else and you're like, oh, I love it here. I love what he said yesterday about being a Colorado guy and how he grew up not liking Colorado at all. Okay, don't run from it. That's what you were brought up. Okay, that's the great thing about college football. We have so much passion, and you grow up with rivalries, and he played in this rivalry. And so he can say, man, the N on the side of the helmet, with everything about Nebraska, the color, I don't like it. Now, he's getting crushed, but that's what happens because you stopped rolling tape, because afterwards he talked about the great respect that he had for Nebraska football.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talked about this current team. You know what? Ryan Walters, you are good in my book. Because this would be like, what if I got hired over at KXMBO in Des Moines. Okay, we crush Iowa. We have to remind people that, it's been a while since Iowa beat Nebraska in football and men's basketball. Like all of a sudden I'd go over there and start rooting for Iowa, and I'd be like, oh, Nebraska. Yeah, no, Nebraska's it. Yeah. No, don't change. Don't change. That's how you were brought up. That's the part of college football that's a passion. Yeah, Iowa might be writing my check, but man, I didn't like you growing up. I didn't like you at all. It just happens to be the place where I'm employed.
Yeah, and
where I'm playing you this weekend. I mean, then we get afraid because we get canceled. But in this sport, passion and rivalries drive this sport. Thank you, Ryan Walters, for saying that yesterday. And also, thank you for everybody that hung with him when he then said, I have great respect for Nebraska football.
Yeah. And he was asked the question about the environment. And so he tapped into his experiences from not only himself, but his father as well. So during that time when that thing started ramping up too, like that's who you are. That's part of like your football experience is respecting, but also hating on Nebraska, because that's what you grew up with. Hating the end, hating the color, and then understanding that was your experience. I think even without paying Matt Rhule and his experience when he was at Memphis, when Rhule was at Temple, and giving him respect, I think even without that, you can read between the lines of a guy who played at Colorado, a guy that had experience in that rivalry, and a guy that still appreciated what those two schools kind of went back and forth on. And, one of the first things he mentions is the 91,000 and how they have loyal fans, but also talked about how it was a heated rivalry and how he hated the N and, can't stand the color of red. I don't know if he's going as far as keeping red out of the building this week as they would in Colorado.
This is going to get way too much run.
It is.
But I love that he brought it up because it showed you.
It's an honest answer.
What makes college football great is the passion that we've grown up in and rivalries.
Yeah.
And what makes Saturday so special. And I'm glad that somebody
and they happen to be black and gold,
who happens to be mid-30s, who is part of this. Like, I like history. I mean, I love coaches that know the history of college football. Yeah. Like, I think that's why in some cases I'm really attracted to Rhule. Rhule appreciates Rhule's a football nerd.
Yeah.
Okay, so he appreciates the history of the game. And I thought when he went in there yesterday, I was like, that's great. Because we all still have those same memories around here because that's what drives college football. And he wasn't afraid to bring it up. But he got hammered because you stopped rolling tape and you didn't hear the things he said about having appreciation for Nebraska.
Yeah. How it's going to be, how he knows a Matt Rhule team is coached and what he sees on film and the respect that he paid for the defense too. But I think all of these coaches, when they kind of give you that real genuine answer based upon their experience in a certain series, being familiar with a certain team, and they give you that response, I think it should, I think not only from your own team and your own fan base, but from the other fan base too of, okay. So yeah, so you do see more than just, the robotic coach speak of, what was he going to say? What was he going to say? Like, oh yeah, I remember playing them, tremendous fans, great environment, which he kind of did, but to give you his personal experience, I think again, that gives you a real answer, how he's really feeling about that.
Andy on the stream says he hates the color red. Guy's got issues. I think it's great, man. Anybody that's ever played in that rivalry, I hope from here till we're taking a dirt nap, you always hate Colorado. I mean, look we had Colorado week around here.
Can we say we hate black and gold?
Well, yeah, twofold. You got one on the left and one on the right. You get to hate black and gold.
Yep.
Comes natural to me.
Hey, but this is what Rhule needs. This is what Rhule needs to do on Thursday when he talks to the media again. Say, guys, and they need to on the next GB rewind.
Yeah.
They need to do the receipts. His pregame speech for this game should be about Ryan Walters disrespecting the color red.
Ooh, how's
and
Isaac
he doesn't
Gifford
like what's on the side of the helmet. I want every guy in this locker room to go over and put your helmet on their head coach. Show him up close what that end looks like.
You hold it up and you just point to it the whole time. Ooh, how's Isaac Gifford going to take this? He was pissed off that Northern Illinois showed up to the game, showed up to Memorial Stadium, and was actually going to play them. He took
it was really, really odd because if they didn't show up,
there wouldn't be a game. It'd be a problem.
There would be some interesting discussion.
It'd be very anticlimactic.
Interesting overreaction.
Yeah. Well, as we talked about a long time ago, the half truths of pregame speeches. Hey, if it works for you, then it works for you.
Charles says Mizzou is also trash. That's true.
Black and gold.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Black and gold.
So the surrounding states of Nebraska, if we touch you, you're trash. And you happen to have black and gold.
Yep.
God, I miss the days of the Big 8/Big 12.
Me too.
We had real hatred rivalries.
Presented by your friends at Phillips 66.
I mean, you hated people.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of hate in the Big Ten, but
not like it. Yeah.
Is Ryan Walters trying to
Old-fashioned
create a rivalry with Nebraska? Maybe that Indiana one's not doing it. But you got to pull a page out of the Coach Mack Colorado playbook and declare your hatred towards Nebraska, and therefore the rest of the team, the program going forward, should always hate red, should always hate the N.
A game in West Lafayette next year would be huge. By the way, I've already bought a ticket to when Iowa and Minnesota play again after the nonsense that went on between Fleck and Fleck and the call yesterday.
He was really definitive on the letter of the law.
And he's absolutely wrong.
And the fact that Minnesota got called for it too.
No. PJ Fleck got called out by fellow coaches about the Peter or poison call.
Yeah.
And by the officials. The officials said that's not true. He said if you call out Peter or poison, that is just as good. Everybody gets away. They said, no, that's not the case. Yeah, and he was on one yesterday, and he was completely wrong. Yeah, we miss these rivalries. See, we need somebody to cheat on us.
We need hate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going home today, and I'm listening to the ticket in Detroit because their afternoon guy, Mike Valenti, is a Michigan State guy.
Yes.
Jesus, he'll just eat this up.
Still one of the greatest rants ever. You cannot run the option in Hurricane Katrina.
So we need somebody to cheat on Nebraska, and then we get all upset in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, just keep an eye on this week with Purdue. I mean, what Ryan Walters said, I mean, will we put it past him all of a sudden to disrespect Nebraska to the point that he's cheating too? I mean, come on. What he said was just absolutely blasphemy.
Connor and I were at the Indianapolis Indians baseball game during Big Ten Media Days. Devin Maccabee was walking in front of us.
Crazy legs.
Never gave us any recognition. Jesus.
Purdue hates the zone.
Didn't you say his legs were really, really skinny?
They were. They weren't skinny last year when he ran for 178.
I always found it kind of interesting when Jeff Brown labeled him as crazy legs. And when you watch him run, he kind of has a little bit more of a high knee type style. But to say that they were really skinny for a guy named Crazy Legs, I was kind of disappointed. I thought maybe they'd be yoked up legs. I got skinny legs. I'm not one to talk, but no one calls me crazy legs. Chicken legs. I do. They're very small. I don't know if you've noticed. I've tried, guys. It's genetics.
I wasn't involved in the whole interview process with you, so I don't know if the legs were discussed.
No, it's not.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 with another edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Enjoy the NBA tonight. Nick won't. There's not a chance that Nick will be watching.
Happy ring night, Denver. Enjoy.
No, I might watch the Nuggets, yeah.
Yeah, you won't watch it.
I might watch the Nuggets.
You'll watch a layup, and that'll be about it.
We're good. See you in June.
Also, Game 7.
Who scores the first basket?
Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Plus, we'll react to the coordinators coming up tomorrow when we're back in at 6 on 1620 The Zone.
Live from